Hello, and welcome to the VR Summer Games 2021. We had a bit of a difficulties. We were actually going to show this a cool trailer, but that's okay. We're going to learn a lot of things this weekend. If you're tuning in or you have no idea what this is, VR Summer Games is the biggest online VR competition in esports for VR games up to this point. And you're currently watching the premiere bracket of the Blaston competition. So Blaston, of course, if you're known what this game is, it's a 1v1 competitive shooting game, bullet hell style duels. And I am your host, Defur. I'm also the community manager for the game, which will kind of bring you the action for today. Before we start, we also just want to kind of thank Val, that you see the logotype below, or Virtual Athletics League, who has been putting together this event. Also, a big shout out to B Haptics, who is a part of sponsoring the prize pool for this premiere bracket. This premiere bracket will have $1,000 in prize pool, along with the B Haptics tax suit, which is really cool. And we also have the open bracket, which is on the other stream. So if you go to Blaston on Twitch, you will also see that there's two streams going on right now, which is really cool. I can't wait to see what we have to bring to you today. This is going to be super exciting. And fortunately, this is, if you've been tuning into any of these streams before, you've usually seen me alone. This is about to change. You're about to see something different now, because I have some experts with me today, which are going to help me talk about these finals and what we're going to see here. So, surprise, surprise, I have three handsome men to join me today. It is Cruxer, Oakfire, and Dr. Oolong. Now, if you're from the Blaston community, you probably should know about these people, but we'll take a lap and introduce them as well. So, Cruxer, you have been a part of the community and been streaming some stuff before. How are you feeling about this event?
I am honestly so excited. Every time I get to watch an event or cast an event, it's amazing to me to see the ingenuity and the creativeness of the players and the competition, how close some games could be. Like just the other day, the game against, it was Wesso versus Baby Spine was phenomenal in the counter picks and then the counter play of the counter pick. It was insane.
Yes, a lot of action has been happening, and if you're kind of just tuning in and joining us for now, this tournament has been going on for 3 weeks now, and it's almost felt like a battle against time. I know Oolong is nodding here, and we're going to hear more about that too, but we're finally here at the top 6 of the premiere bracket, so there's been a lot of games streamed. Also before, just a big shout out to both Oolong and Slow-Eyed who has been streaming a lot of the games. Bounty X Snipe is doing a lot of good work as well. But we also are joined by Oakfire, who is one of the top players in the game. How do you feel about the weekend and the event we're doing?
I'm just really thankful to be part of this community and seeing all the nice manners with all the players. It's really been a joy to watch. And I'm really excited about these upcoming games. I think I watched all of the games that have been streamed, and it's been so fun. Walking here to my office, I was carrying my phone and watching Blasted versus Golden Knight. Really excited.
Yeah, it's been a great. Many games that have been played and some upsets as well. We're going to take a look at the brackets very soon, but I also want to introduce Dr. Oolong. It's been really great to see you cast. I know that you have been probably one of the most stressed out people this week with how much you've been casting, but how are you feeling right now when the finals are starting?
Feeling great. I think we're about to see a lot of really great matches. Everyone, it's a fight against time, but it's also been in the lower bracket, especially kind of a battle between everybody just to get into these final 6 matches. So I think we're going to see the best of the best right here and now.
Yes, and so if you're not aware, there was a 64-man slot bracket that we had a double elimination of, and now it's been whittled down to, I will believe it's 6 players. I think we're just about there because we're finishing up just as the stream is starting as well. But we will look at how the bracket is looking currently, so we can begin to take a look at that. So this is how the bracket is looking right now. We're going to start this stream with having Josie going up against Woody. Then we'll follow it up with Tesseract versus Turbo. and then we'll move down to the lower bracket. As you see, TBA is not a player. It means to be announced. We'll see who will be joining that, and then we'll also have Baby Spine going up. These two players will go up against the ones who lose in the upper bracket. So this is pretty cool to see all of these players kind of gathering up like this. Is this the bracket that you anticipated when going into this event? Maybe we can start with Cruxer. What do you think about the brackets that we have right here?
I mean, I can definitely say everybody on screen there is somebody that I know personally, and that they are just amazing players. I would never expect to miss out on Woody or Josie being in the top. Baby Spine for sure. Whoever, I know that the game, the to be announced, is either Golden Knight or Niels. I mean, both of those players are amazing. So I see there's no surprises here in who is in the top 6 for this tournament.
Do you feel the same, Oakfire?
Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, I was expecting to see Blasted here already.
Yeah.
So that was a surprise, I guess.
From the upper bracket, you mean, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. It's interesting because all of these players, like, I know that, you know, there's a lot of discussions about the meta and what is strong. I know the double shields is a thing. Don't worry, we read the Discord and we see the messages. But it's very interesting for me to have been watching all of these different playstyles clash. And I think you have a lot of insights to this, Oolong. But first, what do you think about the top 6 so far? Is this what you expected?
Yeah, this is pretty much what I expected. I would say the match I'm looking forward to the most out of the upper bracket is definitely Tesseract versus Turbo. I think that both of those players have been performing really, really well in the upper bracket their entire time getting here. And I think they're pretty evenly matched, but in my opinion, at least, loser's bracket is always where all the action is. So I'll be very excited to see who loses and ends up going against Baby Spine and the to-be-announced slot.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is great. I'm kind of looking forward to so many of these matches because a very different thing from Blaston for other competitive games. If you're well known with esports and stuff like that, in the online era that we've had for the past, I would say, 2 years soon, it's very, very rare that you see cross-regional matches as well, because we have to kind of respect that. In Blaston, of course, there is lag when there's cross-region, but it is actually way more easy than other games like FPS shooters where you have like 200 ping that it's impossible to play. Some of these players that are joining us today, I think about half of them are from NA and half of them are from EU. We have never really had the discussion of like EU versus NA, but I wanted to take the opportunity to say and check in with people here on the cast. What do you think about when you compare these two regions represented here today? And we'll start with Cruxer. You're gonna get the toughest questions. What do you think, EU or NA?
You know, I gotta be honest. I would have said EU until earlier this morning. You informed me that Josie probably lives in NA. Because I mean, he's so good. He's so good. So yeah. I feel like Josie is definitely a favorite. I'm not gonna say it's impossible for upsets to happen, but for me, I think Josie is the top player, if not top two or three.
I see. And and Oakfire, I mean, you are a player from EU, so maybe there's some bias here, but I wanted to hear your honest take on this. What do you feel when it comes to EU versus NA and when it comes to Blaston players?
Yeah, NA definitely have the stronger rooster here, and but Tesseract is Josie quality player, so I'm really happy. He's 15 years old and amazing at what he does. And I'd say that the European community has grown really strong, so we're helping each other a lot, and I think that's been a boost. It really helped the players. So
yeah, and it's definitely felt like the community has come together the last few weeks, at least with this tournament. But I've kind of also been feeling it throughout at least the summer too, seeing some of these players kind of rising. And you know, we have Schizo now, both like in Sweden. Like there's people are coming together, and it's kind of cool to see. But Oolong, what do you stand on this this question, EU versus NA?
Well, Personally, I'm a bit biased being from North America myself. I gotta give it to NA, but like Oakfire said, also Oakfire does run the Euro Blasters League, so he is much more knowledgeable on the EU players than I am. But we've been seeing a lot of EU players taking matches left and right going up into these final 6, so I wouldn't be surprised if an EU player took it all today, or tomorrow, technically.
Yes, good to note that. So today we'll of course be running 4 matches, and then we'll be continuing the Premier bracket tomorrow at the same time. So you will have to see more of us. Don't worry about it. But I also wanted to kind of get and pick your guys' brain when it comes to the meta of the game. I know this is a touchy subject, but I mean we have to go there. I mean we're gonna see some stuff here today, and so. When it comes to the current meta, so Blaston, if you're new to the game, changes pretty much with every major update because we do a lot of big changes when it comes to balance, and which make and break some of the tactics for some players. But I kind of wanted to hear more of what you think about the current state of the meta. Do you feel like it's a defensive one or aggressive one, or is there some strats that you're going to be looking out for? And maybe Let's start from the other side this time, because I know Oolong is so excited about this question. So Oolong, what do you have to say about this?
I definitely am. Well, when the last update came out, we saw a meta that was mostly focused on doing tiny amounts of damage over the course of a round, and then defending with double shield, trying not to let your opponent get any damage on you. But at this point, I feel like the meta has sort of balanced out with a lot of players who either aren't running any shields and are running hyper aggressive builds to get around that double shield, or going ahead and just going straight for tether and just trying to outpace their opponent when it comes to damage. It's going to be very interesting. I still think the meta is defined by that double shield, but I think that we're going to be seeing more playing around it than double shield itself.
Yeah, that's a good take. Very balanced. I thought you were going to be more aggressive about this take, but I respect it. It's great to hear, and I mean, Vector was the most recent weapon, which feels kind of crazy to think about. It's like, that's actually been a few months now. If you're new to the game, Vector is of course the weapon which will bounce the bullets around on the edges of the arena or on any surfaces, basically, like a Pong, but a weapon kind of. But it's been proven to be very strong, and it's kind of found its footing in most of people's loadouts, which is really interesting to see. We'll also see if that changes in the future, but that's still to be said. Oakfire, for this current patch that we're playing right now, what do you think about the meta, and what do you think we'll be seeing more of today?
Well, I'm surprised that I've seen a lot of trends also coming, even with the same patch. We've seen suddenly the Majestic Nade being really strong and the Avalanche Nade being used by so many players. So really, the players are watching each other and seeing new ways of using the weapons. So it's not just the patch defining the meta. And obviously the Hammer E has been super strong if you can master it, which only quite few players can. And the double shield, I mean, that's definitely strong as well.
So just to kind of follow up on that, because one of the things, and this is also a good opportunity for me as a community manager. Now I can pick these guys' brain about this. I don't really have these chances to be like, I can't say face to face, but at least like online talking like this. But one of the things that we saw pretty early on in this last update was that I think a lot of people were using the Lance Nade, but it's kind of fallen off a bit. Do you know why that has been happening? Or I feel like people have just kind of figured it out, but what do you think? Oakfire.
I don't think it's fallen off, but I don't know why it's not being used as much. I think maybe because it doesn't really bait the shields as much as the Avalanche Nade can do, and the shield has been really strong. So I think people figure out that, like, if I throw this Avalanche Nade and people throw the shield at it, or even if they throw the shield at the pellets, you create this beam cage and they lock the podium. So they figure out, like, the Ava Nade is stronger in many cases.
That's good to know too. Cruxer, what do you feel about the current patch? And I know that you have been on a hiatus a bit, but you've also been involved with Blaston before this as well. So, like, what do you feel about what you've seen so far?
So whenever I was playing very, very frequently, hours a day, it was when it was the height of the double shield meta. And I mean, it was, if you weren't running double shield, then you didn't have much of a chance competing against people in the top 100. Now, like you said, I haven't had the chance to play as much frequently, but I went in for a few hours the last couple of weeks, and I could tell that double shield was not quite as oppressive. I did definitely notice the way higher presence of the avalanche nade, which I thought was pretty surprising. That used to be a favorite weapon of mine. And then on your question about the lance nade, I feel some people may see others using it, but they don't think of how they're using it. So then they'll try it and they'll stop. I see the lance nade, the best placement is you want to throw it to the side of the podium so it can cut the person off. They either have to stand in the front or in the back, and then they don't get the back and forth motion. It makes it so much easier to trap people that way. And it's easy to forget about a nade that's behind you, you know? And I feel people just kind of toss it and forget.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I'm someone who loves the Nova nade, so that definitely rings true to me. Throwing that behind someone's head, and I can see that big orb coming at them, at their head. I love that feeling when you're like, oh yeah, this is how I win.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so we are, if anyone is curious too, because we could, I mean, I honestly feel like we could probably do a Blaston podcast live right here and just talk for 2 hours. That is not the plan. We are actually going to watch a few games today as well. We will be starting very soon. And the first match will be Josie versus Woody. But that will be in about 10 to 15 minutes. So you just stay a bit more patient, people in chat. We do this because we have to talk about this thing to kind of give some context of what the event is here. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of bring up now too is this is, I guess you could say, the biggest Blaston tournament that has been done at this point. This is a 64-man slot. It was originally intended that you were supposed to qualify for it, but we rounded it out and everyone kind of got in. So we have a lot of the top players joining in here. But besides that, we also have $1,000 as a prize pool, which, you know, if you're a League of Legends player or if you're a Dota player, maybe you will not be shocked to hear that sounds very small. But over here in VR esports land, we're breaking grounds and we're actually trying out new things. And this is, I guess, the biggest prize pool that we've had so far. And I kind of wanted to hear, let's start this time with Oakfire. How do you feel, like, do you think that this will kind of affect how people have played? Because I think a lot of the matches I've seen now, it feels like, I don't know, I can't read people's minds, but it feels like the stakes are higher and that people are taking this a bit more seriously. How do you feel like this has affected their gameplay? Or do you feel like it has?
Definitely more carefully chosen loadouts, not as much playing around, except for maybe Apollyon, which loves a good show. And something I did see was when Blasted had a health advantage versus Golden Knight, and he kind of just cycled the shields to let the round go. And he actually said this on stream. It's just because there's some money in line. So it does affect how people play.
And yeah, I mean, that is really cool to see. And it's great that you bring that up. I saw that match too, where Apollyon was pretty much styling or trying their best to like keep it true. And that is also one thing that I know Woody has been a big advocate for when it comes to Blaston so far, that it's been very like, people want to show off their styles and they want to show off like in this game because you're using your body in a different way that you can, like, sure, you can style in shooter games, you can bunny hop and stuff like that, but it feels so much more real when you can like throw a Viper behind your head or like into your other hand and just like 360 no scope, but in reality, it's virtual reality, right? Oolong, how do you feel like, or do you also feel like this has kind of changed how people have gone into the games, or like, do you feel like they maybe have taken this a step further now to take this a bit more seriously?
I think that they've definitely been taking it seriously. The other change that I've seen, just because it was such a long tournament, I mean, 64-person double elimination, I believe it's around 130, 150 matches. Overall, and a lot of those have been casted, which, I mean, usually you don't get to see this level of high gameplay. So although I'm sure that, you know, money is a motivation for the people who actually managed to get into, you know, top 16 and had a chance to see some of that prize pool, I've seen everyone bringing out their best game, and also watching what other people are doing. and then looping that into their own builds when they go further into the bracket. Recently, just within, the past 24 hours, we saw Tether Nova, which rarely gets to see play at all. And then we saw it this morning in Golden Knight versus Blasted as well. People are really taking that feedback, using it to improve their builds, and that's just pushing this meta forward.
That is something I definitely love to see, especially this is kind of what I wanted when I first started this project. It's like, how much can I push this community to actually take this game seriously? I think maybe I took, like when Woody said, yeah, we're just styling and having fun, and I took that personally. I was like, yeah, okay, but let's see how you can do it when you play seriously. And we might actually see, I'm not sure how we're going to see Woody play today. He might actually go one or the other way, so maybe more stylistic or more fun, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Cruxer, do you feel the same when it comes to this kind of way of, I don't know, how the prize pool kind of changes people, how they play?
I definitely think it's going to change people. For those of us that attend the more weekly events like Dr. Oolong's Fight Nights, you'll see people take it very leisurely. There's still the bit of competitiveness there. I mean, we get very competitive, but in a having fun way. But I feel like during this tournament, you're going to see people take the safe route, like he was talking about, cycling shields. If you've got the health advantage, there's 10 seconds on the clock. Even if they only have a little bit of health, I don't think we're going to be seeing people taking risks. We're going to see people safe it because they want to advance in the tournament.
Totally makes sense. And I guess this stream is very much like almost like a start when it comes to the esports type broadcast that we've had for Blaston. Of course, big shout outs again to Oolong for your weekly tournaments. It's something I think everyone in Blaston appreciates. And also Cruxer, I know that you've been doing some stuff too. And as well, Oakfire. It's like, it's all coming together on this cast, like live here. But it's so great to have community initiatives like this, and that is what we kind of hope to support. Me as being, representing Resolution Games. One of the things that I kind of, being that it is the first cast of its kind in this, at least way, is that there's a lot of very much like advanced techniques in Blaston that you might not be aware of. By the way, there are really great YouTube videos for this. You should check that out. I don't have the link right now, but you should definitely check out some of the videos where they go through all these techniques. But I know that one of the techniques that have been talked about a lot when it comes to this patch is something we'd like to call drop blocking. And maybe Cruxer, you want to explain to the audience what that is?
Yeah, so in this game, every pellet has an amount of damage it will do to a player. It also has an amount of damage it will do to objects, and every object has an amount of health it has its own amount of health. So if you have a gun, guns typically have enough health to block 3 or 4 bullets. And so if you're getting shot at with a wildcat, right, you can just drop your gun over and over again in front of all the bullets, and then you don't even need a shield because the bullets can't even hit you if you're drop blocking. It's very strong.
Yeah, it's very strong, and I feel like it's one of those things, again, where the meta has been developing that I don't know when we started seeing this. Again, I'm pretty new to the game, unfortunately, but I don't know if it has been this prevalent as it is right now in the game. Oakfire, you're shaking your head. When did this become a thing?
Oh, I don't know if it was like JC12 or Apollyon that really started to master it, but then we've seen a lot of trends in how to do it and what kind of pallets you can block. And yeah, the masters, they know how much HP the weapon has got, so they know how many pellets they can drop block. And yeah, it's amazing to watch it.
And I'm happy to hear that too. We are going to soon begin our first game, and that is pretty much going to be Woody versus Josie, and we're going to see some head-to-head kind of like comparisons of the players. I think that we're going to get ready very soon. Doing 5 things at the same time here, so bear with me. But we will have that game soon, and we'll be back after a short break, and then we'll get you the pre-game of Woody versus Josie, and that will be casted by Cruxer and Oakfire, and then we'll have Oolong joining us after the second game. So stay tuned for that, and let's watch some Blaston. I guess that's all we can say, right? All right, thanks, and don't go anywhere. Yeah. And we're back, and I'm unmuted finally. Okay, there we go. So the first match that we're going to have up for today is going to be Woody versus Josie, and this is a really interesting battle. We were talking about this a bit before we started. We have basically Woody, who has been with us from the start, has been doing a lot of content for the game, and has been, I think, like finding out most of the techniques that we know about today. Like, he was kind of the propagator of a lot of these things, which was really cool to see. Maybe he didn't find them, but at least he was showing them to the rest of the community, right? And Josie, who has been on a tear for like quite some time now, the last few months, even in the in-game event that we had not too long ago, where you had, what was it, a weekend to, if you lose 5 games, you're out. And you could kind of tell that Josie had some sort of dominance, where they won 120 games and the second place finisher won 40 games. And that was pretty crazy to see. But we're going to take a look at these players, and we're going to start with Josie. And I love this. This is so much fun. We reached out to Josie to like find out about more about them. So Josie is coming into this with the first seed into the tournament, which is, I think we kind of expected Josie to be here in the upper bracket, right? What do you say, Cruxer?
Oh, I definitely agree. I mean, the way that he plays, it looks effortless, and at the same time, it seems like it's impossible to hit him while he's just dealing massive amounts of damage to you. He's one of the best.
Yeah, and I mean, I also love besides the quote, I'm not gonna read it out, but it's there is a lot to read into in this quote from them. This is, and I got the question, did I write this? No, this is from them. This is definitely from them. One of them is also like the play style, the calculated, controlled, and curvy, and I do believe that there's referring to the ellipse weapons that they really like to use, which you also can see in the favorite weapons here. I guess, was this the weapons that you anticipated, Oakfire, when you see this kind of slide here, the Frostbite, Hammer Ellipse, and the Viper Ellipse as Josie's favorite weapons?
Definitely the Hammer and the Viper, but maybe not the Frostbite. I didn't know it was top 3 for Josie.
It is kind of funny if you're new to Blaston that the Frostbite or the Snowball is one of the quickest weapons in the game that got introduced around like a winter holiday kind of Christmassy thing, and it's become a staple in the community where most players actually use this seriously. But if you're new to Blaston, that will look very funny to you. But we're also going to take a look at the opponent, which is Woody. Now Woody again is coming in with the 3rd seed, so is lower in that regard. But when you look at the age, there's also an age difference there, which is pretty cool to see in this when you think about Blaston as a physical game. But I think this kind of encapsulates Woody's personality. What did you say, Oakfire?
Yeah, I think so, and I love that with Woody. He really wants to bring a lot of joy into playing. Like he said, that play for fun, win for fun. So yeah, he's having a lot of fun playing and trying to spread that vibe throughout the community. So yeah.
And for the favorite weapons, we instead see the Avalanche Nade instead of the Hammer Lips there. So Avalanche Nade is one where you have the pellets coming out from the nade, and then obviously later on it will create these cages. What do you feel about this? I think we mentioned something earlier about Woody and like maybe having some difficulties with the Hammer Ellipse, Oakfire.
Not only if you compare to Josie. So
that is a different one.
And he's the best in the world. So I mean, Woody is great with the Hammer Ellipse as well. But the Viper is no surprise. The Avalanche Nade, I think, is fairly new in his loadout, at least to what I've seen. And he's used the Frostbite for a long time.
Yes, it is very interesting to see this kind of people also developing their own, I guess, style to kind of get more, I guess, adapting to the meta. Because if someone else in the top level kind of finds out a new weapon that they're supposed to use, that then you have to change your stuff as well. And I do believe that we have a lot of new viewers joining in us for this tournament now. Welcome to everyone tuning in. You're just about to see the first game going into the VR Summer Games 2021. And we will be looking at the getting into the lobby very soon. But before we do that, I want some predictions. So I'm going to leave it to the casters. Cruxer, what is your prediction for this game? It's a best out of 5. Who will take it and with how much?
Oh, with how much? Now that adds another layer of difficulty. I think, I hate to say it, I do think Josie will probably take the match. If Woody comes out with something very creative, if he comes out being ingenuitous with his loadout or the way that he's playing, he could stand a chance. But the way that Josie plays is so hard to counter, so hard to deal with. It's really just an all-inclusive strategy that he has. It's very hard to beat.
And what do you say, Oakfire?
Yeah, definitely the prediction goes towards Josie, like Cruxer says. And I think, yeah, I'm really curious. And actually, I will be surprised if Woody wins any of the games.
Oh, well.
But I hope he will, because I want to see an even fight.
Yeah,
and I mean Woody, I love you. So if you watch this, thank you for all you've done.
Yeah, I think we all want to see a close game, but we are about to head into the first game. So I'll leave it to Cruxer and Oakfire to take this one away. We're going to start things off with a best of 5 in the upper bracket, and we'll get the lobby sorted as soon as possible. So take it away, Cruxer and Oakfire.
Yeah, like Oakfire was saying, I hope we see some even games. And for those of you who may not know, it truly hurts to vote against Woody because he's probably the one who's done the most for the community, being extremely active in the Discord, and I believe he was the first, or at least the most popular YouTube channel in the beginning to spread knowledge and information so that more people can make it to the top ranks and understand the game.
Yeah, but I definitely think Woody can win this game. I'm just curious, like he has to be really innovative with the loadout and the style, I think. So a very aggressive playstyle may be able to touch Josie.
Yes.
Because last time I saw them play, Woody had double shield, and even though he's really good with the double shield, it wasn't enough to be able to handle the bullet hell from Josie.
Now, I know for a little bit of time, towards the end of when I was playing very frequently, Robo President came out with a triple shield build. Do you think that's going to be effective at all versus what Josie's bringing to the table?
No, I don't think so, because that's gonna leave Woody with too little offense. So
Yeah, too few guns.
yeah, he's not gonna be able to touch Josie. Because on the other hand, he needs defense towards the bullet hell from Josie. But to be able to deal damage on Josie, you really need some serious surprise or a lot of stuff at the same time. So
That's very true. And also, for those of you out there who do not know, uh, Josie, the main reason it's so hard to go against him is he uses a weapon called the Hammer Ellipse. It is a shotgun weapon. And as you swing your arm when you shoot the gun, it will spread the bullets out and then they will curve. So the way that he uses it is we commonly refer to it as a clamp formation. One will come over the top and then two shots, one from either side. They all coincide on your platform at the same time, making it nearly impossible to get out without taking at least a little bit of damage. But most of the time, you will be taking a lot of damage. On the flip side, Woody will be using, well, possibly double shield as he typically does. In that case, one shield has a 2-second cooldown, the other one has a 4-second cooldown. And if you start pulling them out of the sides at bad timings, then you can mess up your cooldown rotation rate, and then he could leave himself very open to Josie's attacks.
definitely.
Are there any specific tactics you think Woody might be able to take to combat Josie Oakfire?
Like I've said, I think it would be interesting to see if he brings a super offensive playstyle to be able to deal enough damage to Josie before Josie can kind of burn down the health of Woody, because Josie's really consistent at getting hits. So you have to be faster than Josie. So
That's very true.
maybe he could bring. I mean, the tether way is a way to deal a lot of damage in a very short time span. So that could be something Woody brings. I mean, I haven't seen Woody use the tether, but
Yes. And again, those of you who do not play the game, you'll be hearing us say a lot of terminology, things you may not know. The tether is a weapon that does not move. And so while you are holding it with one hand, then the gun in your other hand, the bullets will travel significantly faster out of the gun, giving your opponent a lot less time to dodge the bullets. And it also, in one way, decreases your amount of offensive power, where it's normally good to shoot two guns at the same time. But whenever you are shooting, say, a Wildcat, which is a small submachine gun weapon, the bullets go so fast, it gets incredibly hard to dodge, especially if they are trying to predict your dodges. And
Yeah.
you can get a lot of damage in that.
yeah, I'm super curious. What is Woody bringing to the table to be able to surprise Josie? Because Josie's so like we saw on this profile card, he's so controlled and calculating, and
Yeah.
he's been playing so much, so he knows how to handle most situations.
hmm I would love to see. I don't know. Do you think? I don't think it would be possible, but it would be very fun to see if Woody pulls out some lance strategies. There are also lasers you can set across the other opponent's platform, and
I,
so then they will.
I'd be
Hmm?
surprised to see lances in this game actually, because they're both really good at dodging that.
Yeah,
And yeah, they're for the best players, they're a little bit too easy to counter.
that is true.
But who
Unless you
knows?
go a little too all in on the lances, if you got the lance nade and then both of the two different lance guns, can be oppressive, but then you're wasting so much of your cooldown
Yeah.
allotment.
You need to have super strong counters, and if you do have a counter on that kind of build, yeah.
All right.
Oh,
It looks like we are getting ready to go here.
yeah. I think we're gonna start with just a test round.
Yeah, they're going to be making sure that there's no lag in the server. Sometimes you can get in a server with somebody, even who you play against frequently, there's slight amount of lag, so then you would want to reset. Here we go. Everything looks clear.
Okay, so Wood is bringing the Majestic Nade. That's a little bit of a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, both of
See.
them have the Majestic Nade. That's interesting. And only one shield with Josie.
I can
And,
say that.
oh, like I said, there is Woody brings no shield, so he's going on the really offensive strategy here.
Yeah, that's going
Super
to be
exciting.
Yeah.
That was one of my theories. Like, how can he deal a lot of damage in a short time?
This is going to be very fun to watch. Also, I can see with Josie bringing the Majestic Nade, which will set a somewhat large cage on the opponent's platform, it'll be very hard to deal with that and the hammer at the same time. But here we go. Let's see, we're going to have Josie starting out. Oh, sitting there. Is this another test round, I suppose?
It looks like it, yeah.
Yes, it would be. Ah.
Yeah.
All right, doing a couple dance moves.
Okay, now I think they're good to go.
They'll have to reset this game, right?
Woody's just gonna
Woody's
buzz himself.
Also, for those who don't know, like so many other things, if you are to leave the boundaries of your podium, you will start taking massive amounts of damage. Okay, is this the real deal? All right, we have Woody starting out or Josie starting out, throwing hurricane shots up in the air. They're going to lob over. You can also see Josie starting with his clamp formation on the hammer ellipse. Woody using one of his favorite guns, the Viper ellipse, which is a sniper that can also curve bullets. Then we have the Vector being shot towards the ceiling so it can get an off angle on Woody. Woody with a slight health advantage at the moment. Seems to be chipping away at Josie's health here.
See both of them using the Majestic Nade.
It is. Also, Woody hitting a snowball.
Great hit by Woody. It's really hard to hit Josie with the frostbite.
Yeah, I would say it's very uncommon in these high-ranked matches to see a single snowball land across a game. It's more of a zoning tool.
1 minute.
And here we go. Both players doing well, taking it slow at the moment. Josie setting up his combo again. You can see those two hammer ellipse shots. I believe his first one went a little long here. Woody putting on an amazing performance. Oh wow, Josie taking a lot of damage, stepping into the Majestic Nade. Also for spectators here, each player has 100 health, so I know you see those damage numbers that will help put it into perspective how important each one of these hits is. The snowball, you can't see it, it deals 15 damage. Here we go. Coming up to the end of the round, I wonder if we're going to have a timeout here or if either player is going to get full kill on it. Looks like probably a timeout. 5 seconds left to go. Woody starting the match out very strong.
Amazing start by Woody.
Amazing, that's true. I don't believe we saw a single Viper shot land, but
No,
we can
and
tell that Joe...
Yeah,
Okay.
that's common in this level, but the amount of snowballs they hit is very uncommon.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
nice
actually
drop
think we
block.
just saw Josie drop block the snowball with his hammer lips.
Okay, so now Josie has learned Woody's strategy probably, so he might have a harder time. And he also noticed that there's no shoot shield for Woody.
Yeah. And so Woody is relying completely on his ability to dodge around and manipulate his character's hitbox to avoid the majority of the pellets going onto his platform. Josie starting out with a very strong second round here with quite the health lead on Woody. In higher level matches, you can never be sure. Even a small health lead in the beginning can last for the entirety of the game. So we've got grenades.
I think Woody has to push really hard now if he's going to be able to take this round.
Yes. And he looked like he was having a bit of a controller problem there, not being able to throw the gun. Dropping it, picking it up multiple times. We have the Majestic Nade coming in. That's a very good Majestic Nade landing near the middle of Josie's platform. Woody might be able to capitalize, but now it's gone away. Yeah. Josie coming out with very aggressive use of the Wildcat and the Hurricane. Oh, Josie taking some Hurricane shots, each dealing 10 damage. Woody accidentally steps out of bounds.
Oh no, did he fall?
He may have, so... Also, I know spectators are seeing just a couple avatars moving around on podiums here. Those podiums are maybe near 4 feet wide, 4.5 feet wide, and you can get very physical in this game. It's not difficult to fall over, not difficult to potentially even hurt yourself if you're not careful. But of course, we probably will not see any real injuries with these two players as they are so experienced. It seems we're getting a bit of lag on Woody's end. Alright, a more even start to this round. Hopefully Woody will be able to keep it that way, as Josie seems to have adapted very quickly in the previous round. Got Wildcat bullets going in. Okay, here we go. I think the majority of the damage here in the last few seconds has just been thrown weapons.
Yeah.
1 minute.
So another thing you'll see the players doing is the grenades, when they pop, they will always aim towards where your player is standing at that moment. So you can position yourself strategically in a place where you know you are not going to be standing in the next couple seconds to have the grenade aim somewhat incorrectly. So that'll be significantly less effective here. Alright, Woody having taken a significant health deficit over Josie here. It's going to have to come up with something.
He's not been able to dodge all the hammer shots with Josie.
Also, we haven't seen any snowballs land this round. Oh, we did just see a Viper E-shot hit. Woody has a chance.
Great Viper by Woody.
10 seconds.
Yeah. Now, where Josie is arguably the best Hammer E player, Woody may be one of the best Viper E players.
Oh, Josie's taking it.
Nope. That was a very close round, but Josie takes game 1.
Let's see if they're gonna keep the load. Now they're gonna do a change of loadouts.
Alright. I wonder, so I would assume it's going to be Woody that's changing his loadout, obviously.
For sure.
Yeah.
He's not gonna survive without the shield, I think. It's a bit too risky when Josie knows that Woody doesn't carry a shield. So it's a big risk to go shieldless. But we saw that in the game with the Turbo and Robo President, and Turbo actually managed to get a game shieldless against the Shield Master. So it's possible. So I think it was a creative idea by Woody.
I'm definitely glad that he tried it. It was fun to watch. It was exciting. Nice, good game. Very close, actually, in that last round. I didn't expect to see a Viper hit that this early in the games here. But it's best of 5.
I played Josie. I never landed a Viper on him. So it's a great feat.
It'll be interesting to see what Woody comes back with. I wonder if he's going to come back with a single shield to keep a lot of that offensive pressure, or if he is going to swap back to his more comfortable double shield loadout. Which do you think would work better?
Yeah, either a small adjustment like that, or maybe he's gonna I think he could take a big risk and do something more radical. But I really don't know.
It is.
I don't know. I think they're getting ready. I think the loadout changes has been made.
Seems we're waiting here for the lobby to be put together. But as we are waiting, I think some of the best plays now. Josie, his skill is in his consistency, and he very consistently, almost perfectly performs his combo, which is just one of the strongest combos in the game. Now, we did see some very surprising feats from Woody, as we said during the match. It's highly uncommon to see snowballs landing at this high of a level. Snowballs or Viper lip shots landing at this high of a level. And in the first round, Woody landed two or three, and then he hit the Viper
I
lip
think
shot.
he was overwhelming Josie a bit with, and maybe surprising him with this offensive strategy of using no shield at all. So I think I was impressed to see Woody putting all this pressure on Josie, and I think that may be the only way you can really, he's so consistent, but you want to stop this consistency so that you get some, holes to get through in bullet hell. So let's see if we're gonna do a test round or not.
Yeah, it looks like we're doing another lag test here.
Okay, let's look at what they changed. Okay, Woody is going with a lance nade this time, and he's
Okay. So did he pick up the lance nade and no shield?
still no shield, and Josie goes double shield.
3, 2, 1.
Double shield
But
vector
just a
hammer.
nade.
Okay. This is going to be very interesting. That lance nade might be the pressure Woody needs to corral Josie into either hitting more of his pellets or absentmindedly stepping into the laser.
Okay, this will be interesting. Let's see if Woody can put enough pressure on Josie.
Yep. Oh, doing a second lag test.
Okay.
Okay, just a little bullet test here. All right, it seems everything is good to go. And as you can see, just a moment of standing outside of the bounds will deal 50 damage to you, meaning you will lose half of your health in a moment. It is quite unforgiving to step out of the boundary of the platform. Now that is only your head, by the way. You can manipulate, get your torso out of the platform, but if your head leaves the boundary, then you'll take the damage.
Game starting.
Yep, here we go. Starting out with the Hurricane Volley from Woody, and we'll see the placement on this Lance Nade right from the side, like I was talking about earlier. Josie feeling the pressure, starting to take a couple pellets.
Oh, he got trapped.
Yep.
Nice damage on Josie.
All right, Woody holding onto Josie's shield to kind of slow down the cooldown there. Oh, but Woody taking a lot of damage here.
That Viper by Josie was amazing.
Big lag here in the spectator client. Oh my.
Might be okay for the players.
Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna have to see here, is Woody going to be able to come back from this? He's already in the red. He just took massive amounts of damage in that one combo from Josie. That was an insanely close Viper shot. Alright, we'll see. It didn't look like Woody had too many guns to set up the combo with his Lance Nade there. Also, Josie holding onto a shield, ready for anything at the moment. And then Woody psychs him out with a fake snowball throw.
Woody dodged this really well.
Yep. Josie trying to 360 in the middle of a tournament. The man, the myth, the legend. Alright, here we go. Throwing the shield to try to blind his opponent while he shoots with his Viper E. 30 seconds left on the clock, and Woody has a lot of ground to make up here if this combo doesn't end it, and it did.
It did.
Oh man, I cannot believe Josie went for the 360 in the middle of the tournament. Woody's got to be feeling that one. Here we go, shield up to block the Hurricane. Josie somewhat trapped on the side there, but Woody's gonna let him escape it. Woody doing a much better job of blocking, or of dodging that particular volley. So now we can see the Lance Nade is serving almost a double purpose. If it goes off, then he is getting a lot of podium control over Josie, but Josie is opting to throw his shield at it and waste the shield over having the nade go off.
Yeah.
we go. Can Woody dodge all of these pellets? He only gets hit by one hammer E-shot. I think that's very impressive.
Really well done without the shield to be able to dodge those attacks by Josie.
Yes, and then we have vector shots coming in from above. Woody is going to take a couple hits from those. It looks like Josie was unable to block that hit. Here we go, Josie returning with some very fast shots with the Viper E. A favorite weapon of both players in the match. But Woody doing a good job keeping up the pressure. Josie not able to dodge all the pellets. And finally, a good lance nade from Woody. The last one went a little wide, and a snowball shot.
That was so much damage. Woody just needs to land a Viper now.
Yep, a Viper, another snowball could possibly do it. Could put him in the running. He's got 20 seconds left. He's waiting on cooldowns. Starting out with a Hurricane setup is going to be very good for him. This could get ugly here. And Woody takes a lot of damage. The lance nade not landing optimally. The Hurricane's coming in. 5 seconds left. Woody is trying his best to claw his way back up from these health deficits, but Josie's combos are so strong, and he's changing his loadout again.
Yeah.
Very
Oh my god, I can feel it. I can really see Woody's body movement there. He's like, how am I gonna do this?
Yeah, it's a conundrum. I've faced Josie many times myself, and honestly, it's so overwhelming when you see close to probably 100 pellets coming towards your platform, and your brain just has no idea what to do. It just kind of turns off. I'm sure Woody's not having that particular problem, as he's much better than me, but it's...
Yeah, but still, it's so hard to dodge the pellets by Josie, like we can see in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy to see that Woody is trying a no shield versus Josie, because I think he never expected that. Because when you face Josie, you want a shield. Because otherwise, there's no way out.
Mm-hmm. So thinking he may pick up at least one shield, or at least he probably should pick up at least one shield, which weapon from his loadout do you think he should swap out for the shield?
Oh, maybe he would switch out the Raptor, because I think now he uses the Raptor to kind of bait Josie's shield, and maybe also he uses the Raptor a little bit as defense to shoot out the other pellets.
Yeah,
because it's only 2-second cooldown.
So if he swaps that with a 2-second shield, it's not going to mess up his overall loadout cooldown?
Yeah.
So
but I'm expecting more radical changes now, because he needs to win this game.
That is very true. All right, here we go. Most likely going to start with another lag test.
Yeah, we get a sneak peek at the loadouts.
See.
The avalanche.
We're not seeing anything different yet. Oh, we didn't get to see the 6th weapon. So everything was the same, except the grenade might be a shield now.
Avalanche name changed from Rudy. And we have the tether on Josie, which is a big change.
Oh. That is going to be very, very interesting.
Josie's really good with the tether also.
Is he? I've never seen him use it.
And no shield, I mean, it's going to be a tough one for Woody.
3, 2,
yeah.
1, blast on.
Okay, I believe we're actually going here. Josie already starting out using the tether and the Viper E, making a very good gun already, even that much harder to dodge. Josie taking the first bit of damage. I believe he got tapped by a Hurricane.
Not a very successful first tap.
But he has his standard combo coming out here. Woody not able to avoid everything. He steps out of bounds and gets hit by a Viper shot. Woody is going to have to do something amazing to pull this back. That is quite the blunder here. And now taking even more pellets. I hate to say, this first round might be a redo. Woody may even already be thinking just conserving his stamina here, not tiring himself out for this round, saving it for the next. But it doesn't seem like it. He's going for it. You gotta commend him there, not giving up. Those vector shots are going to be hard to keep track of, bouncing behind, but he seems to dodge all of them.
Just really using That's the best counter to a no shield.
Yes.
Load
I
up.
mean,
Oh my god.
having no shields versus tether is
It's a pain.
it is a pain. I would say there needs to be a skill difference in your favor to have a chance on that. All right.
Okay, Woody, show us some magic.
Yeah. Josie here, waiting for cooldowns, letting Woody waste, or I wouldn't say waste, letting Woody go through a few of his weapons. All right, and Josie reaching up to return the avalanche nade. Oh gosh, the amount of pellets on Woody's platform is insane here. That ellipse shot going so close.
Oh, that was still not bad by Woody. Pretty even in health.
Also, those of you spectating may hear a chain sound when Josie breaks the tether. You can't get too far away from it, otherwise it will break, and I believe that deals 5 damage to you. Ooh. Josie trapped there, in between the hurricane shots, had no choice other than to take the snowball or possibly risk taking multiple hurricane bullets from above. I will say, I really enjoy watching the Viper Ellipse duels going on here. Alright, Woody taking a lot of damage here again.
Oh,
Josie's
that was
combos
tough.
being very impressive. Oh, I will say though, it is still definitely possible for Rudy. Any Viper E-shot will basically secure the game. Well, it probably wouldn't. Now it would. A Viper E-shot would secure the game for either player.
Oh, so close.
Oh,
Will we see comeback or will we? Oh, getting closer.
oh, I
And Woody do
really
it.
thought he made it out of that combo. That would have
couldn't
been
do it.
so impressive. And Josie takes the entire game. Correct?
And Josie wins.
Yep, Josie will advance. Amazing.
Ooh, oh my god.
That was something else. That was. Oh,
Yeah, I'm impressed by Woody's
ingenuity.
play style here, and really wanted, like, he really did his best to be able to budge Josie.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell even in that first round when he was put down to maybe 5 or 6 health in the first few seconds, he was trying to up his chances going ahead and using all of his energy to continue to try to dodge at that top level just to not give an inch because he needed to take the whole game and he knew it. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, Josie is so oppressive.
Yeah, and you know, it's so physically demanding to dodge like Woody was doing there. When you don't have any shield, you really have to move your body so much. And even though Woody is really well trained, I mean, you will get tired in this kind of game.
That's very true.
So that's something I love about these kind of VR games, that you have to take your physical stamina into account when you play.
Mm-hmm. Now, I would be willing to bet you're in a bit better shape than I am, but I feel whenever I get on to play, I can play for like max 2 hours, and then I will be completely gassed out and I have to stop.
When I play too much. I mean,
Yeah.
I think both of them are sweating a lot, especially
sure.
Woody, because I played with no shields and it really makes you move.
Mhm.
So if you want a good workout, perfect.
No shields, just run it. You're going to be dancing all over your room. If you have small animals, cats, you got to lock them out. You don't want to step on. Oh man, it's
So I
that
think
was
we're
such a
gonna
good
be joined by Defur
Defur. Yeah.
again.
Yes, I was just waiting for you guys to
you're-
finish up, guys. I'm of course I'm here. That was an insanely cool game to see. I mean, it might have been
Small.
like it might have been. You probably are hearing me.
It's all right, ladies
Maybe.
and gentlemen. Defur is the only man behind the scenes here.
Maybe you are hearing me now. I'm not sure. No.
No, okay. Actually, I believe that was entirely my fault.
I think you can hear me, right? Can chat hear me?
I
don't
can
know.
now.
Yeah, I'm like, hello, chat,
Sorry.
save me. Oh, you can hear me twice now. All right, there we go. if you can't hear me once, you can hear me twice. You know, you get all the Defur that you need. That's how it works here, okay? I think we finally settled things. Of course, as mentioned, you know, this is a one-man production here, but we're trying our best to do this and showcase Blaston as good as we can. And what a way to showcase it with the first game here between Josie and Woody. On paper, this was kind of the result that we kind of expected, right? I mean, Josie coming in with the first seed, Woody on the third. Of course, as you mentioned previously, Oakfire, that Woody had to kind of pull something out to make this thing happen, and it didn't feel like. I mean, if we take a look at Woody first here, like what could Woody have done differently in your opinion to actually take this? Because it feels like he was close, but you know, a close 0-3 is not really what you want to have on paper, right? So what could he have done different?
I mean, last time they faced each other, he did double shield, and that didn't really work. So now he tried super offensive style, and I think he worked pretty good. So he has to kind of put Josie off guard so he doesn't do his perfect combos. So one thing that he might have been able to do, I mean, it's so hard, but maybe the tether could have put Josie off guard, because even Josie cannot dodge the tether, all of the tether shots, even though he's pretty good at it. But that's the only time I see Josie really having to move.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of tether, we actually saw Josie bringing it out, which was not expected, I think. I think the Quicksilver is not something I've seen Josie use at all, at least up until the previous matches I've seen so far. What if you could speculate, Cruxer, what do you think? Why would Josie bring out Quicksilver or like the tether in this type of game, you think?
I mean, I gotta say, as soon as Josie noticed it looked like Woody was set on not bringing out a shield, then it's a rock, paper, scissors sort of situation. If you don't have a shield and they have a tether, I really think the only way to win is to be, for the person with no shield, to be significantly better than the other. And with the evenness of their skill, leaning a bit towards Josie, it was a clear-cut solution to ending the game quickly and not wasting his own stamina for later matches. Or, well, he's not playing again today, sorry.
But, I mean, we're going to move things along. This is one match of several here today. This was the first upper bracket match. We're going to head into the second upper bracket match now. And this is, I feel almost... It's similar but different. It's same but different, you know? Because, like, one of the things that we have mentioned so far, and I think we can probably take up the bracket. I say that as if I'm like talking with someone behind the scenes. I'm like, yes, production will fix that in a moment's notice. But it will be Josie, of course, moving on to the upper final, which is tomorrow. And let's see how this looks like. Can I get the... Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. There you go. Now you see the name. See? Professional broadcasts brought to you by Defur. Of course, we don't see that Woody has gone down to the lower bracket, but you see the other matches that are coming up, which is Tesseract versus Turbo. Now, Tesseract, when we've spoken about them before, they are someone that is actually might be similar in terms of playstyle when it comes to Josie. Would you correct me there? Am I wrong? What do you think, Oakfire? Or is Josie Tesseract?
I mean, I like to compare them because both of them are really controlled. They have perfect control of the curves, the hammer E curves, and they're also really calculating when it comes to defense, so they don't move unnecessarily, and they're both quite tall. So there's a lot of similarities. Yeah.
And when we look at Turbo instead, so what is different here from Turbo? I mean, it's to me as a community manager, please, I can't keep track of all of these good players. Like, come on, there's too many of them. I can't.
Yeah.
So what is some? Would you signify Turbo as with his playstyle, if you could?
I mean, Turbo's really good at drop locking. He's also quite innovative with his loadout. So I've seen him using plenty of different loadouts, but something he's really good at is baiting with his grenades, with the nades. So he's really clever and when it comes to placement and tricking the opponent and where he's going to throw them, and with a super quick counter, either the snowball or the Viper E.
Now, I can't believe I didn't think about this earlier because I'm so into this actual setup and everything, but we're gonna look at the head-to-head between these players. And I mentioned EU versus NA. We just had two players from USA playing, and this match is gonna be two players from England playing. So we basically have the cream of the crop in the States, and then now we have the EU players going up. And now, first off, we're going to take a look at Tesseract here. Tesseract, as we kind of mentioned, is one of those players that have kind of had these breakout performances and feels like their movement is just on another level when it comes to like how they play. This is I kind of like this quote here: "Kicking ass one hammer E at a time." I guess that is is that a winning concept? It feels like Josie is also in on this, and then now Tesseract is very much featuring them. But the one main key difference here is that if you look at the favorite weapons, it's the Aegis Shield, Hammer E, or Hammer Ellipse, and then the Vandal, which is not a very common weapon. And if you have been looking at my tier lists, and thank you for checking out the YouTube Blast on YouTube. If you haven't done that, you should check that out. Quick plug. The Vandal, Cruxer, could you let the people know what does that do?
Yeah, so the Vandal is a very niche weapon. It shoots bullets that do not damage players. But they deal extremely high collision damage, so they can destroy objects, they can destroy bullets very quickly. If you are going against somebody who uses only grenades, which we probably won't see here in the tournament, but people like to do it in the ranked or like the multiplayer, then the Vandal can shut that down extremely easily because you can just shoot the grenades out of the air and not have to worry about them at all. It does have a slight, you can use it to blind opponents. When the pellet hits, it will expand into a larger pellet that can, if you constantly shoot the other player in the head, they will not be able to see, which could free you up to hit Viper E shots if you have one of those, or just to prevent them from dodging larger Hammer E combos.
Sorry, the phrasing there with shooting repeatedly into the head, it just sounded very, very aggressive, but it sounded very funny. But it's funny because the Vandal doesn't do any damage as well, so it just sounded like very contrasted. But if you take a look at the shield here, Oakfire, is this the correct favorite weapon of using the Aegis shield and not the Cortex shield? Damn, am I gonna misremember a name here? Do you feel like this is the better one?
Oh, I think that depends entirely on your playstyle. But I think this is a 2-second shield. It's more versatile because it spans so fast, so you can pretty much always have a shield ready. Yeah.
So if you're also new to the game, there's two shields. One is duration is a bit longer when it expands, but yes. Now we're gonna take a look at Turbo as in comparison here. And now, again, like this, we meant like in the previous game, it's like a young person. I think Josie was 18, and then Woody was 33. Now we have Tesseract of 15 years old playing versus Turbo, who's 33 as well. Both of these players are from England, and I think Turbo has a bit of a more humble take with his quote. But I do want to say that they were the winners or the top player in the season queue. So in the game, if you play Blaston, every month we have like a ranked queue and a leaderboard, and Turbo actually came out on top in the latest one. So they have, I guess, if anything, put in a lot of effort into the game very recently. Now, for the favorite weapons, what's your take on this, Oakfire?
Yeah, I've seen Turbo using the Avalanche Nade really well lately, and he's great with the Viper, and he's also, pretty good with the Hammer E. Compared to Tesseract is definitely the stronger user of the Hammer E, but Turbo loves to use it and uses it really well to distract the opponent and to push the opponent onto the other side of the podium, and then hits the player with the Viper E.
Yeah, well, it's going to be very interesting to see these people go head-to-head. Tesseract, I also wanted to mention too, is Seed 10 and Turbo Seed 5, so we'll see how that dynamic plays out as well. But we will be heading into this game momentarily. But before we do, we have the interesting question of the predictions. And I think... Wait, what was the predictions on the first match? I already forgot what that was, but I think the prediction was that... Yeah, okay. You're not correcting yourself, right? I'm not just for this game though. Turbo versus Tesseract. Turbo has the higher seed. Tesseract has had a really good results as of late. Who would you feel is going to come out on top? And we'll start with Cruxer. What's the results going to be?
So for me, it's a little bit hard for me to make a fair guess. I've played against Tesseract a fair few times, and I have noticed that he's very similar to Josie. Turbo is somebody who I guess I don't play at the same times that he does, so I haven't got to see him very frequently. But Oakfire constantly comparing Tesseract to Josie does kind of make me lean towards Tesseract. I can't really throw out any round like 3-2 calculations or anything, but if Tesseract is as similar to Josie as we've been saying, then it really might just be for him.
And Oakfire, what's your take?
Yeah, so Turbo is definitely the underdog here, despite him winning the season. Tesseract is, I'd say, the more skillful player, and Turbo, and I know Turbo, I think Turbo knows this also, so Turbo's really got a surprise Tesseract in this game, I think.
Yeah. Good points all around, but we're going to head in to the lobby in just a few. We're going to set it up right now, and I'll leave it to Cruxer and Oakfire to take it away with Turbo versus Tesseract. So, see you in a bit.
Exciting game.
Right. I hope that we are going to have a very close match. I really want to see a 3-2. For me personally,
same here.
It would just be.
I hope Tesseract can sometimes bring really creative loadouts if he's feeling risky. Mm-hmm. He has a really cool Helix tether loadout, which is, which he can do really well also. But if he wants to play safe, he's gonna bring the double shield and the hammery Wildcat and Vector. So I'm super curious or maybe even the Vandal. I mean, the Vandal is a favorite for Tesseract, even though he's definitely, I don't think it's his strongest loadout, but we'll see. And
I'd love to see Tesseract pull out a Vandal. I would be surprised, unless it is purely a counter pick, if we see a Vandal throughout the entire tournament. I mean, technically we did already in one of the unstreamed matches. Well, it was streamed by Dr. Oolong just yesterday. It was the Wesso versus Baby Spine. So what can happen with Vandals is Baby Spine had a bunker shield, which is just a massive square, actually, during game sound. But yeah, so I believe we're
players are getting ready.
3, 2, 1, blast off.
Alright, doing some more lag check.
Let's see what they are bringing. Tesseract is bringing the Avalanche Nade, Hammer Lips, Wildcat, Factor, the 2-second shield. And Turbo is doing no shield. Okay, he's really going to push this one for an offensive, trying to put Tesseract out of his combos, I think. I think it's a wise call by Turbo.
Nice, I like the camaraderie here, getting the GG in before the game. Another thing about this community, it's amazing. You will meet so many very nice people playing this game.
2, 1,
Okay, let the game begin.
Alright, another test go for it. Oh, and Tesseract's using tether.
They're testing.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that. That's interesting.
Okay. So, only one shield from Tesseract in the tether.
Yeah.
Now, using
That
the
was
tether...
a really perfect choice by Tesseract, because Turbo does not have any shield.
Yeah.
And now
Although-
they're not allowed to change the loadout, so...
Yeah. So it is going to be... I could see Turbo having the potential for counterplay here, because if Tesseract only has the single shield, he might... if Turbo can put a lot of pressure on the area where the
Hello, Turbo.
tether
You're all
is...
waving to us, that's lovely.
I know. I love the sportsmanship here. The showmanship, rather. But yeah, Turbo could zone out the tether and give Tesseract some problems here.
Yeah, let's go.
right, let's see. Tesseract starting
High
with
tempo by
very
Turbo.
both players return the opponent's grenade here. Turbo taking a lot of damage from the hammer combo. We got snowballs coming in. Hurricane shots coming from the top. Alright, there's an avalanche nade not going to get returned. A couple connections. Turbo had to stand in the cage for a little bit. This is
Perfect tethered.
Yeah. Here we go. Let's see if Turbo is going to be able to do anything. We're only a little more than 30 seconds into the match, and Turbo is nearly in the red here. Tesseract going with an interesting avalanche nade throw. The shots coming wide. Getting Turbo to move around the platform a bit here. A snowball connection from Turbo.
Nice hit on Tesseract.
The avalanche nade got turned around, very risky. He grabbed that at the last possible second. You don't want a grenade to blow up right in your hand. On some of them, it could even nearly one-shot you.
The hammer E and tether combo from Tesseract was really deadly for Turbo. So hard
Right.
without a shield.
And we're about to see it again here in just a moment. Oh, he's going to shoot it before grabbing the tether. I think he's going to use the
hammer.
wildcat for that. Here it goes.
And tether.
Yep, putting it into the match.
That's a nice combo.
Let's hope that Turbo can turn this around like Woody or like Josie did after his first match. Maybe he was just caught slightly off guard. I hope he's thinking about his counterplay options already.
I think he has to push really hard now.
Yes, he's doing well here. Both players taking about an even amount of damage here in the first couple seconds of the fight. Got the Majestic Nade with very good placement, nearly right in the middle of the platform, and a snowball connection. Or the
Turbo's
snowball.
really strong with the nades, making it hard for the opponent to grab them.
Turbo trying to use the Hurricane to block some pellets there, as bullets can collide with each other, but it did not seem to go his way.
That is so hard to dodge for Turbo.
I'd say given the circumstances, he definitely dodged a lot more pellets than I would have anticipated. See, both players seem to be waiting on cooldowns. Alright, Turbo using his last two hammer E shots here. Faking out with the snowball throw.
1 minute.
Hurricane shots coming in from above. We'll see if we can get a good Majestic Nade placement. He threw it a little too early. The nade goes out of bounds, and
No
Turbo
pellets.
getting
Oh my god.
destroyed.
That is just brutal.
That almost looked like a old 80s action movie when someone's just getting lit up. He was standing there, shaking around, just getting shot.
Yeah, I think
And
we're
the
going to
players-
see low that change now.
Yeah, alright.
I would
And
be
so then also-
surprised to not see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Turbo has to bring shields.
Oh, definitely. I wonder, I hope he doesn't go the same way that Woody did in deciding not to. Whereas he
No,
could...
I definitely think Turbo will bring shields now, because
Mhm.
he's really good at using shields.
Yeah. Hopefully.
But I have no idea what we're gonna see Tesseract doing, if he's even going to change anything.
I would be surprised if he did. I don't really think he will. I don't think he has a need to at the moment unless he is trying to anticipate the counterplay. But I believe the safest move for him would just be to stick with what he has. It's very strong.
Yeah, I could see him dropping the tether and going a little bit more defensive. But,
For the double shield.
Yeah, because he's a master of double shield.
Yeah. Also, it would be easier for Turbo to choose to try his best to counter the tether specifically, in bringing out possibly a lance and just being able to shoot the lasers near the tether, making it to where Tesseract can't use it. But it will be certainly interesting to see.
Yeah.
I hope we will get a
In
closer
these
match
games,
this time.
yeah, in these games, it's when you do several games like this, such a big part of the game what loaders you choose and how you counter them.
Mhm.
So,
I wonder then, with the amount of Hammer E players, and the way that it's just so oppressive, the way it covers the entire platform. Baby Spine, who typically runs Bunker and did in his last match, I wonder if he will still be running Bunker in the games to come. But
He's really good at that.
Here we go. And so again, we see the players, they're doing their lag test. Just to let everybody know, we do have players across regions. Now, both of these players are in EU, but sometimes the servers can be slightly laggy. They can have a little bit more problems, and so you would want to back out and restart the server. So we're just checking to make sure everything's okay. The players are probably talking to each other, having a chat, and then they're going to start it back up and get it going.
You also want to check that your headset is okay and that your controllers are working. So you try to grab some stuff, try to shoot a pellet, just to see that nothing's stuck.
Yeah. But here we go. I wonder if we're going to have a second round or if they're just going to go at it.
No, probably it's all good.
Most likely. Alright, nice.
So now
Waiting
they
for
just
the
have to
crowd.
press replay. They're doing some thumbs up to the audience. Okay.
3, 2,
Go. We're going to start out. Alright. Tesseract having the Vector this time. I'm not sure if he had it last time.
That's
Couple
right.
wild-
The Vandal.
Oh, the Vandal! I wonder if he's going to be using it. Yes, and he is going to be using it to shoot the grenades. He seems to have dropped it a little early, but maybe he's
Got a shield for Turbo this time.
Alright, here comes the Hammer E combos for both players. And we see Tesseract drop blocking and making very good use of the Vandal, just blocking all the pellets coming his way. Turbo is already in a very rough position here, having lost half of his health already. Turbo also using the nade to drop block a couple pellets there, just to give himself some breathing room. Right, here we go. I love how their cooldown timing is very in sync with each other. They both start the Hammer E combos at roughly the same time. Oh! I was just about to compliment Tesseract on not taking damage, and then he manages to step into the Majestic Nade. Those things can really sneak up on
where
him.
everything is.
And Tesseract making great use of the drop blocking. He's doing it so casually, it's almost hard to even notice that it's happening.
Yeah, goes so fast.
Yep. Oh, and there we go, some Turbo with the nade prowess you were talking about.
Turbo is also really good with the drop blocking, and I know his play space can sometimes be super small, so he has to really use every weapon as defense.
That is unfortunate. Alright, here we go. Turbo managing to go a long time now without taking a lot of damage, but he isn't managing to return the damage needed here. With 15 seconds on the clock, it's going to take something truly impressive. And at the same time, Tesseract going in for the kill. And there it is, the snowball.
Oh, finish off.
It's alright.
3, 2, 1.
Glad to see both players still staying in high spirits here. Oh, the good avalanche nade from behind. Tesseract is going to be able to dodge all of it. And Majestic nade taking off a bit of the back platform space, but it doesn't seem to be too optimally placed there. Turbo taking quite a bit of damage from some combos here. Tesseract ready to shoot down these nades. And here we go. Turbo with another nade, seems to have gotten shot down almost immediately. Turbo not able to get away from all the Hammer E shots. This seems to be a running theme within the competition. A lot of good drop blocks with that grenade. There we go. The grenade's just being sniped right out of Turbo's hands here by Tesseract. The Vandal, even though we did say it's not the most popular weapon, it definitely has its uses. Snowball. Oh, Tesseract taking one avalanche pellet hit, but with 30 seconds here on the clock, Turbo is yet again in a very rough position. Going to take some Hammer E connections to be able to gain some ground here, and he concedes the round. Guess he's probably going to go for another loadout swap.
Yeah, that's what I expect. And It's amazing to see Tesseract playing with the Vandal. He's the only one I know who uses it against even the smallest pellets. He even
Oh,
takes
yeah.
out Wildcat pellets with the Vandal. So he's
Mhm.
for sure the best Vandal player in the game.
Oh yeah, and I feel using it so frequently, I bet it feels to him like he's gotten comfortable with its cooldown. It's not super long. It gets quite a few bullets, so if he's thinking, well, obviously Turbo doesn't have any grenades to throw at the moment, I may as well just shoot out these other pellets just to get them off my plate.
Yeah. But I think for Tesseract, he loves the Vandal, but I think his other loadouts without the Vandal is even stronger.
Mhm.
So, but depending on what the opponent chooses, the Vandal can be super good counter, and sometimes it can be quite worthless.
Yeah,
but in
I
this
mean,
case, it was a pretty good choice because Turbo chose 2 nades, so it's a good counter to nades if you're good at the Vandal.
yeah, and I would say he was shutting the nades down nearly half the time, maybe more, 60, 70% of the time. The nades didn't even make it.
And
That
Turbo
was-
is really good at throwing nades, so I mean that says something about the skill of Tesseract at being able to shoot them down.
Yeah, and I bet that could not feel good for Turbo. Having a third of your kit just being totally neutralized by one weapon on the opponent's side. And
No,
there's not a lot of counterplay there.
Yeah.
You can try to fake out with the grenade throws, but it's going to be pretty rough.
I faced
Seems-
Tesseract many times, and it's daunting to play against him.
And we could see, like you were saying, his Hammer E combo setups are nearly just as good as Josie's. Have another lag test going on. Customary.
Look
Yeah.
at the changes.
Yeah.
Tesseract is
Tesseract got rid of the Vandal.
got the avalanche nade. I'm not sure I don't think he. Oh, Turbo's
And
going
Turbo with the lance.
and the tether.
And the tether.
This is a big. Oh, and the super majestic. Oh my god, this is
super-
really.
What?
I'm really surprised.
I am so surprised to see a Super Majestic. He
I don't see
has
the
to have a
second one.
shield, right? If he doesn't have a
Make
shield,
this excites them. I can't see it. No shield.
He
and
doesn't.
Wildcat for the tether.
so for those of you that don't know, the Super Majestic has a 10-second cooldown, and it's a little bit too complicated to get into here, but the game calculates the cooldown of all weapons, adds it up, and then decides which ones to refresh first. Turbo
say
is going
very
to, yeah. Turbo is going to be going a long time with his things on cooldown, and he's going to have to be surviving the barrage from Tesseract. And with no shield, it's going to be very hard, but he definitely has himself set up to unleash some extraordinarily devastating combos.
Yeah, I
against
love
Tesseract.
this. This is a brave move by Turbo. So
Very brave, and it might be the innovation that we need to see. I mean, the other rounds, while they were entertaining, they were not extremely close here. But we're going to see the Super Majestic now shoots out quite the massive platform here to block large amounts of the opponent's
Tethering
side.
back.
Tesseract showing amazing skill, drop blocking almost every pellet that came his way. That was nearly unbelievable, the skill that was just shown there. Alright, but here we see, oh, and Turbo has made a bit of a mistake here, using the Super Majestic with nothing to back it up. His hand catching a hurricane shot as it comes down. He doesn't want to let go of the tether, doesn't want to give up that 5 damage. And this is what I'm saying, I think Turbo is feeling the pressure. He definitely needs to slow it down, wait for his guns to come back, wait for his combo to be set up. But at the same time,
No protection.
he's under a lot of pressure here. Now this might be good. Here we go. Turbo getting some damage in, getting a decent amount of damage in. Also taking that 5 damage when he's already in the red. That's a little too dangerous. He's gonna have to...
Yeah, this is more damage than Turbo has made on Tesseract so far.
That is very true. Oh my. Alright, and let's see. Turbo getting... Oh! He got in one drop block. Maybe he didn't see the last pellet and it manages to take him out. That's okay. That's just the first round. Turbo is probably still adjusting to the new loadout, still getting in the correct headspace to be dealing with the complications of this. I would say this is definitely an advanced skill loadout, and it's going to take a lot of time management. But he is holding on to the Lance and the Super Majestic right now, which is going to give him massive platform control here. And here we go. Nice, keeping Tesseract. Yeah. But Turbo still, unfortunately, not managing to come out on top of the first encounter there. Taking a couple avalanche shots. Both players seem to be more comfortable in their drop blocking. Turbo taking three hurricane shots over the top.
Yeah, this will be hard to counter.
It will. Alright, we've got the Super Majestic coming in. And Turbo in the red, the snowball bringing him down to probably about 4 health. He only shoots 1 laser out of the Lance. And accidentally broke the tether, or did a bullet actually hit him? I'm not sure what did the last bit of damage.
Or maybe he felt that he was lost there.
Yeah. Oh, an amazing try from Turbo. Honestly, I feel you really can't do much else but respect that. That was quite the showing.
Yeah. Well, I think Turbo did a great job at trying his best, and I loved that he did this last loadout, which was really surprising.
Yes.
And, yeah, risky. But
Absolutely.
I think he needed to go risky and be unpredictable to be able to deal some damage on Tesseract.
That's for sure. I wonder... Oh, and look, we've got the showmanship still going on.
Waving to the audience. Nice.
Yep. I mean, at the end of the day, there is a prize pool here, but the players are playing to have fun. There's many tournaments held all the time with little to no prize pool, and we still have turnouts from a lot of the top community members. So
yeah, I love that. Most people definitely play just for fun.
Mm-hmm. I will say I noticed there towards the end some small optimization coming out from Tesseract over Turbo. It was very near the end of the last fight. We saw both players go for Hurricane volleys over the top, where Turbo threw his Hurricane at Tesseract. Tesseract threw his Hurricane up at the opponent's pellets, and then he even managed to grab Turbo's Hurricane and throw it up as well. So instead of going,
you want to use all the defense you can from every weapon.
Yeah, because if you think about it in purely like a mathematics game, right? Throwing a weapon at somebody tends to deal 1 damage for the majority, but throwing a weapon, you can block 2 or 3 hurricane shots, which is a total of 20 to 30 damage.
Yeah, no, it's a good strategy.
Mm-hmm. Right. Then I believe Defur might come in here for a little bit, or we may.
I think you believe right. Yeah. Hello, guys.
It's almost like you were waiting for it.
Yeah, almost. This is so cool. Like getting into this tournament now and actually seeing these people play it out for real. Now, unfortunately, we haven't seen the 3-2s that we want to see. It's been 2-3-0 so far. But again, it's like one of those two. On paper, it kind of felt like this is the results that we expected, but not what the hearts wanted, right? But this means that Josie and Tesseract has moved on to the winners finals, which is going to be played out tomorrow. While this also means that the other 2 players have been moved down to the lower bracket, and how do you feel about this next game? We're gonna have Golden Knight versus Woody Place, which is that's gonna be a very interesting one, I think, so to say the least.
It is.
Maybe Cruxer, you can go first. Sorry.
No problem. Gosh, that's a very hard one for me to put a prediction on. I know that Woody is skill, thinking, sometimes patience, but a lot of times practice, whereas Golden Knight is a bit younger, more energetic, and I've been in the position to hear him while he plays, and he gets very passionate, very into it, very locked in, so it'll definitely be a good match one way or the other. And I also got to say, I'm excited to see Woody's performance in the lower bracket. I bet it'll be amazing as well.
Yeah.
Yes. What's your take on this, Oakfire? We're gonna check the bracket up next.
I mean, they are two of the most famous players because they've been around for, I mean, since the beginning almost, I think. So they've been strong for such a long time. So definitely the veterans, the clash of the veterans in Blaston. And I say that this game will be, I predict it's going to be much closer than these two that we just saw.
Yes, and if we take a look at the bracket now, which has been updated by me, we can see what is actually going to come up next. So we saw Josie taking out Woody 3-0, and then Tesseract taking Turbo out 3-0. Why is there no scores there? Come on, Defur, do better. We'll get that sorted for tomorrow. But yes, I think this is going to be really cool also to see Josie and Tesseract, because they are, as you mentioned, it's like each winner's or upper semis has been like the older player versus the younger player from the same region, and now they chose the representatives to go to the upper bracket final, which is going to be both of the younger players, one from NA, one from EU. It's like, I mean, I'm not making a story. Like, the bracket is just like writing itself. Like, it's just out there, you know? And then now we're looking at the lower bracket, which, as you mentioned, Oakfire, like, these are the iGoldenite first versus Woody plays. These are the two most like known players in the community, and the reason why that is because they make all the content, all the guides. I mean, sure, there are other people that make guides too. Baby Spine does as well, and Turbo has made a lot of content for the community. But iGoldenite and Woody plays, they've been like really killing it with making so many videos for the game. So it's almost like the content creator clash, but it's also like the veteran clash. Like, there's so many things going into this game, and I mean, I can't wait to see who comes out on top. This is definitely going to be one for the books. I actually don't know if they've, I mean, I must assume that they've played a lot versus each other since you know, yeah. So it's like, I think there's another element too, which I love about these games that have this like deeper I guess level of gameplay, where it's like, when you know someone a lot, like, that activates a whole different range of like mind games. Like, you know, you can maybe pick a weapon that references some feud from some like months ago. Like, you can do a lot of stuff to get into the other opponent's head, even if it's just movement. I know Woody really likes to go for this like tricky plays, or like the, you know, the 360s and stuff like that. And iGoldenite has been really kind of adamant about showing like a lot of new builds that they've come up with, like how to kind of think about the games when they make their loadouts. But that is what we're going to be showing next once we come back after a short break. And once we return, we're going to be hearing some from Oolong, who will be casting this alongside Oakfire. So thank you so much for Cruxer, who's been casting so far, and we'll be checking in later as well. So thank you, and don't go anywhere, because I mean, you're not gonna want to miss this next game. Like, this is some good stuff. This is good Blaston, I have to say. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the VR Summer Games 2021. You are watching the Blaston Premier Bracket. And the music was very loud. Let's do that one more time, guys. Are you still here? Everyone awake right now? Okay. So, you're watching the VR Summer Games 2021, and you're also watching the Blaston Premier Bracket, which is one of the 2 brackets that we've been hosting for Blaston, which you might not be aware what Blaston is, but it's probably one of the better competitive VR games that is out there. And now we're in the biggest esports tournament, or event rather, for VR esports ever. So this is a really exciting time for us to showcase the game and be able to kind of bring all of this gameplay to you. So far we've had 2 of the upper bracket matches being played out on stream. We've also had the open bracket, which is for the Rising Stars in Blaston, played out on our B stream, which has ended, but big shout outs to Starwise and Bounty X Snipe, who has been taking care of that. And of course, I'm not alone in this. We do have some people who is joining me, and I will bring them up in a second. But I do also want to take a moment to just thank both Val, Virtual Athletics League, which you see the logotypes here below, who has been helping us to bring this tournament for you, which has been great to kind of see this top level of a VR esports game. It's really crazy to see this. And if you don't know who I am, that's fine. It's okay. You don't have to know who I am. I'm the community manager of the game. I'm just trying to make the stream run along. Nothing special. But I do represent Resolution Games, who developed this game, and we're so excited to kind of bring this forward to every one of you here. I do think we even have some of the developers here alongside in the stream. So it's great to see everyone kind of gathering up for this type of event. Finally, we also want to give a shout out to B Haptics. If you're new to VR, B Haptics is basically a haptic feedback equipment that you can use to basically get your gameplay to a next level. So when using this with Blaston, it's also a bit terrifying, but very cool feeling that when you shoot each other, you actually feel yourself getting shot, which I won't fault anyone for that. That is actually a really cool experience. So, but they have also sponsored this tournament with one of their tact suits, which is one of these like really fancy-looking suits, to the first place finisher, besides the $1,000 prize pool. So, big shoutouts to them. And now I'm going to bring in some people that are way more knowledgeable about the game than I am, even though I'm still Overlord, but still. We're gonna bring them in. It's Dr. Oolong and also Oakfire. Hello, guys. How are you doing?
Hello. Doing
Morning,
really
good
good.
afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, it's so wild though. Like doing these types of events is you don't even know where people are at. Like, is it morning? Is it evening? I always like when I work from this, in the situation we're in. It's always like, wait. Oh, it's dark outside. Okay, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Okay, nice. It was sunny when I started this, but it's great to have you both here. Oolong, you've been watching a bit from the sidelines, but now you're gonna take part here to cast Woody versus Goldenite. What are your thoughts going into this match as we set up the lobby?
Well, I said it before, I'll say it again. Losers is definitely where all the action is in any double elimination tournament. I had the chance to watch Golden be blasted earlier. Golden actually wasn't running a shield in his build either, and we saw Woody earlier against Josie not running a shield. So it's going to be interesting whether they're going to stick with that strategy versus one another, knowing the builds that they like to run, or if we're going to see different builds coming out from either of them.
And how about you, Oakfire? What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these players really know each other, so I think they're going to go in for some surprises. So trying to do some moves that they haven't really shown to the other player. So I'm expecting the unexpected in this game.
That's a great way to put it. I think definitely, as we mentioned before the break, this is so many clashes. It's the veterans, it's the ones that we know, it's the content creators, it's figures of the community. You could even say people have been following these guys and trying to learn the game from them. Me included. Like even when I started the company, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm working at Resolution. I gotta starting working with Blaston. Okay, I'm gonna check out Woody. Okay, and then in the featured videos, like, oh, Golden Knight, okay, yeah, I'll watch these two guys, and then here I am now and being like mind blown. Of course I've watched their videos. We all did, kind of. So we are going to be going into games very soon. So, but before that, we have the question, and now you'd get to take part of this, Oolong, and maybe you're laughing behind the scenes. But predictions for this match. It's a best out of 5, Woody versus Golden Knight. Who's going to take it?
I think this is going to be too close to call. I think that if there was any set that was going to go to match 5, that was going to be it. I've got another prediction, though. I do think these matches will be settled by Viper, not necessarily with the actual Viper hits themselves, but whatever you run into when you dodge the Viper. I think that both players are going to be running that as part of their build, so it'll be very interesting to see that sniper duel go down. And
how about you, Oakfire? You said it was tough, but have you come to reach the decision now?
Well, you know, in my vision, Golden Knight shows up as the prediction. But like I said, this is such a close game. If we compare to the last 2 games, they were much more easy to predict. So I think this can go either way. But we're definitely going to see the Viper.
Yes. I feel like both of these players are kind of, using that a lot. Unfortunately, because some of these games were kind of getting ready as we were going along with the stream. We don't really have a graphic for Golden Knight. Very sad times. I don't know if maybe we could... Oolong, you've seen Golden Knight play a lot. What type of... I don't know... What weapons does he favor? I know that he had this like laser build a long time ago, but I think he's changed a lot since then.
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen him running is a shieldless build that is featuring the Raptor, the Wildcat, which is the SMG, and the Vector that we were talking about earlier, usually with the Viper or the Hammer Ellipse, sort of swapping those in as needed. It's going to be interesting. Another thing I do want to add real fast about Golden Knight is that technically he was the first one to create any sort of content confirming that drop blocking was a strategy in the first place. So if either one of these 2 players is going to be running any sort of SMGs, it'll be interesting to see how prevalent drop blocking becomes as a defensive maneuver, especially if they don't have any other shields to work with.
That is very interesting. It's like they've created so many parts of the meta, so it's like very next level now, and it's just like the creators are coming in to battle each other. But yes.
His video was on clicking, which is what he called it, but then when the community started picking it up, somehow drop blocking became the term of choice.
Yes, and I've also seen some people in chat mentioning this. Yes, we are aware that you're here. It's fine. You're being heard. It's okay. And we also, like, this is maybe a good time. Like, I wasn't going to mention it, but this is really cool. I just want to give a shout out to the community of, like, we have this suggestions part of the Discord with, you know, if you didn't know, all of the developers of Blaston is actually on the Discord. And people from the community are sending in so many suggestions that it's very hard for us to take care of, but we do read through all of them, and we try to do as much as we can with the suggestions that are being sent in. So it's really cool to see that, and sometimes I get really surprised at the creativity that players get in. Also, in the developers' defense, it's like, oh, here's a cool feature. We're like, yeah, that's gonna take like 3 years, but cool, thank you. Yes, we'll do that. But seriously, a big shout out to the community for that. We are just about to head into the game, so I will leave it to you alongside Oakfire to take it away, and let's see Woody versus Golden Knight.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Switching screens around here. Let's go ahead and take a look at our predictions. So right now, based off your predictions in Twitch chat, we've got 60% odds on Woody Plays YouTube, 40% odds on Golden Knight. Oakfire.
That's pretty close.
Do you think that's about accurate? 60-40?
I'd probably go even more towards 50-50, but
even more towards 50.
I think 60-40 is accurate enough.
We're just wrapping out with the lag rounds.
But I mean, I'm leaning a little bit towards Golden Knight, but yeah, it's a tough call.
It'll be interesting for sure.
The double shield for Woody.
Yeah,
And,
Woody completely switching over to double shield here.
and Golden, I can't see the 6th item. Maybe it's a shield, maybe it's not.
I don't know. I don't think he's going to run the shield here. I think he's going all in, all offense. And versus double shield, we've seen earlier in this bracket that's the way to go.
Yeah, really pushing the defense, overwhelming Woody.
All right. Here we are, match 1. Best of luck to both of our competitors. Oh, wait, no, we're
One
taking
more
another SD. Never mind.
Yeah, no
So
shield
this is
for Golden.
partially to check the lag, but also partially to check the boundaries. Taking out of bounds damage is so much in this game that, I mean, accidentally not knowing where your VR boundaries are can cause some upsets, to say the least. So
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why you see Golden Knight walking around his play area, because he had issues earlier on in the tournament with that.
They're also moving so fast. They most use some kind of rubber grips on the controllers, and they can sometimes stick to your buttons. So you just want to make sure they are in place.
Three, two, one. Blast off.
All right, and there's our last self-destruct.
Oh, let's see if Woody is gonna do any shield cycling here.
All right. That aggressive hand waving is indication that we are about to start.
Three, two, one. Blast on.
Right. They are off. Golden Knight's going to start off pretty aggressive, coming out there with the Raptor and the pistol.
Hating the shields.
Majestic's going to be on the field. Snowball's going to go through. Oh, man. Those hurricanes. Oh, one of them's going to hit Woody. That, I mean, when you get into this high level of matches, even that small amount of damage can make the difference. All right, that Super Majestic's not going to quite get onto Woody's play area here. All right. Woody doing a bit of damage with those hurricanes. Not enough to decide the match. Golden Knight having to duck out of the way of that Viper.
1 minute.
Ooh, Woody's going to take another thing. You can see that having to use those two shields is really stalling the rest of his loadout. He's taken up 2 slots just for his defensive maneuvers. Uh-oh. There we go. Ooh, Golden Knight's going to land a nice snowball there. Ooh, he fakes out that snowball. Seconds left on the clock. He misses that last Viper hit. I think that was his last chance to take a big chunk of damage. Golden Knight's gonna fire back. Oh, and he's just laying down the lines of bullets now.
3, 2, 1. The round is over.
All right, and Golden Knight is gonna take round 1.
2, 1. Blast on.
All right, and we are off for round 2. Oh, are we out of sync? Oh, I guess we're out of sync a little bit. I'm gonna be trying to go off of, I don't have the stream view. I'm gonna try and use the direct Discord view if I can. Oh, there we go, okay. I think I can fix something on my end. All right, Golden Knight just trying to lay down lines of bullets. Also trying to prevent Woody from getting any greater standing. Ball going out. Woody's taking a pretty significant amount of damage this round. He's going to step out of the way of those Viper shots, but he's going to take a couple Wildcat shots in the meantime. That Super Majestic, sadly, he was too busy dodging. He didn't manage to get that out. That's one of the downsides to the Super Majestic, is that you don't manage to get it onto your opponent's platform, and there's nothing much that it's going to be able to do. Woody on just a sliver of health here. Ooh, all right. Oh, and Golden Knight is going to take game 1. All right, I did
Nice
reload.
copy,
Hopefully, in chat, you guys can let me know if my casting's a little bit more on sync. It's ahead now.
One. Blast on.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. The Majestic Nade. The Majestic Nade. I do always call it Super Majestic. All right. More of those lines of bullets coming out from Golden Knight. Golden Knight able to just go all-out offense 24/7.
He really puts the pressure on. I know Woody's gonna try to figure something out.
Right. He's trusting in that bullet collision to protect him from something. That Super Majestic's going to be on the center of the stage again. Oh. Golden Knight making sure no lag BMs. Ooh, and those Hurricanes are in the perfect spot. Is he going to be able to push him back into it? No, Woody manages to wiggle out of that push. All right, excellent. Ooh.
Those Majestics are really good by a Golden Knight.
Yeah. Yeah, and the debate of the Avalanche Nade versus the Majestic Nade, I think that, you know, the Majestic Nade has more potential, but that Avalanche Nade is so consistent. One of those bullets hitting Golden Knight,
It's
doing
definitely easier.
pretty small.
It's a bit easier to use. The Majestic Nade is really good if you're perfect timing, which is
Right.
Golden Knight is really good with them Blasted, I've seen.
Right. Ooh, using his own shield to get rid of that nade.
Oh, nice. Nice blocks. Really good level play now.
It looks like Golden Knight's just trying to get some weapon throw damage.
Looks like
Throwing out
two
that
are
Majestic
dancing.
nade. Ooh! He manages to hit 2 of the Avalanche nade bullets.
Oh, nice.
10 seconds left on the clock. I think he's going to be down on health. Oh, but that's good placement of that Majestic nade. Is he going to be able to do anything with it?
So close.
No, and Woody's going to take round 1.
Nice dodging by Woody. Wow. That was such a good round. It's wonderful to see these players dance along the podiums and really pushing each other.
Right, Woody's going to use that 4-second shield to block the Viper. Ooh, he's going to take some out of bounds damage.
Oh no.
He's going to dodge a bit too far. And you can see that out of bounds damage is no joke. I mean, even just a second of being out of bounds is 50 points of damage.
It's bad.
Vipers. Oh, he's too focused on the Viper. He takes a snowball. Oh, and apparently he does take a Viper. I didn't even see that bullet.
No, I didn't see
My
it.
goodness.
Can Woody come back from this? It's going to be a tough one.
It's going to be
Over
real
1
tough.
minute left.
The other thing that's interesting about that Avalanche nade is that when those beam cages proc on the ground, they're still dangerous. They're still live. And
They
if Golden
are.
Knight ducks down too far, he can still get hit by them.
And if you accidentally block them with a shield, it creates, it really blocks your podium. So you got to be careful with it.
Yep. Much more consistent, but again, that Majestic nade's going to have its place.
And the Majestic Nade is 1 second cheaper than the Avalanche, so
Yes. Yeah, that too.
it's a big difference.
It definitely helps, but again, you know, especially if you just mistime it. Ooh, Golden Knight going to take a big Viper bullet there, but he's going to come back with a Viper bullet of his own. And he's
Oh,
going to
whoa.
take round 2.
This is such an intense game.
Very intense. We said that this game was going to be determined by Vipers. We've seen Viper hits on both ends.
Blast on.
Ooh, Woody
Wonderful
doesn't even
dodging
want to
by
see those
Golden.
hurricanes. Ooh, that's dangerous placement of that Majestic nade. Ooh, he manages to grab the nade and return it to sender. He doesn't have much else to capitalize on there, but still a good defensive move by Golden Knight. Ooh, that's gonna be right on the center of his play area.
Perfect placement. Oh, and the frostbite.
Ooh.
I love to see this kind of game. It's such a fast game. Really excited to watch.
Oh, he's gonna take a snowball now too. I feel like oh man. Oh my goodness. Absolutely devastating in the
that was
last
crushing.
minute there. Someone take a clip of that, please. We need a clip of that. Last minutes there.
Okay, load a change.
That was absolutely wild. So
That
we
was
did say
amazing.
going into this that those Vipers were going to play a big role, and I think that they definitely did. There were several hits on both players throughout those two matches. Another interesting thing that I noticed was that it seemed like Woody, with the two shields, was using them more as a distraction, more as a way, especially that 2-second shield, to block Golden Knight's vision than it was to actually defend against projectiles. What do you think, Oakfire? Did you see that?
You can see those shield tosses with a nade coming just behind it, trying to not show that he's throwing the nade. Just,
right. Or at least try and mess him up a little bit on the positioning. And then also in that match, we saw the we talked honestly a lot already about it, but the Majestic nade versus the Avalanche nade, which I think at this point are probably the two most used nades throughout this tournament. What do you think, Oakfire? That 1 second difference doing anything for Golden Knight there with the rest of his low cooldown build?
I don't think it makes a big difference, but the consistent way he can use it, that's the more important, because if you miss it, which is really easy, then you just lose 3 seconds. You just throw 3 seconds out of the air. So it's all about how good you are at placements. And I think Golden Knight is one of the few which is good at, he can consistently place the nade. So you get the beam cage in the center of the podium, which is really distracting for Woody.
Yeah, and especially with those pushes going up behind it. When it's in the center of your play area and you're pushed back into it, you either have to step forward and take more bullets, step off to the side and possibly take a Viper, or step back and take, I almost called it a Super Majestic again, the Majestic nade damage. So it'll be interesting to see what weapon swaps we see here.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some big changes. I wonder if Golden Knight dares to keep the no shield strategy. We've seen the tether counter coming to that, so he may be careful sticking with that.
I think that the collision on his weapons, and as long as he's continuously laying down those lines of bullets, I think he can survive without that double shield, or without any shield, really. But I think it's going to be dependent on how consistently he can keep those up. The other thing too is that, especially with tether, any weapon that does a lot of damage and blocks vision is kind of devastating and can stop pushes. And Golden Knight is running that snowball. I mean, both of them are, but that snowball into tether is a very strong choice. So I'll be surprised if Woody goes tether here.
Yeah, me too. I actually haven't seen him doing that much. But I wonder how their stamina. I mean, both of these players have really good stamina, but the way Golden Knight plays, I mean, it's a lot of movements.
Tiring.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And sometimes as a community, we do those longer sets, the best of 9 sets. Best of 5 is still pretty long, and as we get into these later matches, we'll see if Woody can continue to keep up with, or start keeping up with, the low cooldown build that's coming from Golden Knight. Especially without those 2 slots having to be sacrificed for shields, he can keep up that pressure almost continuously.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a pretty good counter to the double shield. Would you just have to be defending all the time? And let's see if Golden Knight can keep the offensive pressure on.
We're going into these lag tests, so we're going to see if we can't catch a glimpse of the builds.
Yeah, we're waiting for the players to join the arena.
Three, two, one.
I don't think any weapon swaps are going to be coming out from Golden Knight. I do see that Woody has gone for the Lance Nade rather than the Avalanche Nade.
Yeah, not a huge change, but
I think
no
it's-
shields is a huge change.
Yeah. I think
Oh.
one of the big differences between the Lance Nade and most other nades is that you don't necessarily need to get close with the Lance Nade in order for it to be effective. In fact, a lot of the time it can be more effective the further away it is from your opponent. And since Golden Knight was pretty on top of grabbing those nades and sending them back to Woody, I think that was a safety choice. Also, Woody going no shields. Oh my goodness, I should have said that first.
This is going to be so intense. 2 no shield loadouts. Wow. I can just... Yeah, they're gonna be sweating so much. Oh,
One of the best things about this game.
it is. Such a good
You can get
workout.
those those characteristic Blaston thunder thighs. For all the squatting you have to do.
One. Blast on.
Oops. One more testing round, looks like. Actually, quite similar loadouts. We're gonna see a lot of pellets in the air.
Yep, the only difference is the Lance Nade versus the Majestic Nade, which means that Golden Knight's build is technically just very slightly shorter than Woody's.
Blast on.
True.
By literally a sixth of a second.
Okay, this will be an epic match.
Winner, pink.
Get some hype in chat. I think it's what these two need to get started. And this set is best of 5, so if Golden Knight takes the win here, we will be done with this set. Woody's got to get 3 wins in a row to come back. And they're off. Woody's going to start by sending some of those hurricanes into the air and drop blocking most of what Golden Knight sent at him. Ooh, that's going to be some tricky beam placement. Oh, and one of those hurricanes manages to hit Golden Knight. Ooh, he gets hit with a snowball too. This is looking pretty good for Woody. I don't want to jinx anything.
A good start. Oh, another hurricane. Too many hurricanes on Golden Knight there.
Too many hurricanes. That's my hardest weapon to deal with. Ooh, Golden Knight gonna take 2 of those raptor shots.
Yeah, they come slowly from the sky. You forget about them.
I don't like
another
looking up.
hurricane.
Any weapon that forces you to look up or behind you is not great in Blaston. Well, it's great. It's not great to play against since it takes your eyes off of most of where your opponent's projectiles are coming from. Ooh. He's going to take a couple hits there. He's got a solid health advantage here. He just needs to hold on to it for the next minute. But those snowballs from Golden Knight are going to make it difficult.
He doesn't have any shields, so he can't just shield cycle. But he does have a defensive stance right now. Oh, they're getting close.
Yeah, Woody needs to watch out for throwing that laser within grabbable range. Ooh, he takes another snowball, and Golden Knight's going to get the health advantage. It's still one Viper hit away for either one of them.
So close now.
I'm on the edge of my seat. Ooh, they're just trying to get the spam in, and Golden Knight takes round 1
Nice job.
with the Wildcat spam.
Woody had a big
Oh,
lead,
man.
and Golden Knight managed to take it back.
3, 2, 1. Blast on.
Oh, Woody really needs to be drop blocking some of those. He takes 2 of the Wildcat bullets. Oh, he jumps up to the ceiling. That nade's going to be returned to sender. And here's one of his own. But it's going to come just short of the play area. Those two of those hurricanes are going to hit.
Oh,
my goodness.
From Golden.
You got to look up, Golden Knight. You got to look up. Oh, he's going to take another one. All right, but that's all I think that Woody had in the tank as far as his weapons. He's got to wait for those cooldowns now. Oh, Golden Knight doing a really good job. Oh, and
that Viper.
He lands a Viper bullet. I was going to talk about how I think Woody's trying to send that nade behind Golden Knight, but Golden Knight's jumping 2 feet up into the air to catch it.
1 minute.
Beam cage on the back of the platform.
Better watch out. Yeah.
Oh, and he steps back into it. Oh no.
He didn't watch out.
He didn't watch out. Oh, and the spam with the majestic nade right there. I think this might be it. Oh, it's not going to be it. It's going to be a Viper duel at the end here.
Who can land it?
Ooh. Woody not even trying to take a risk. Oh, teeters on the edge of his play area to get around that, but he's still running a health disadvantage. He still needs to do some damage here. As those hurricanes are coming down, and the hurricanes are going to win this set for Golden Knight.
Oh my god, he didn't see those.
You have to look up. You have to look up.
Yeah, he's not looking too happy now, Woody.
Oh, GG's. GG's. Audio's half a second early. Oh, I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Oh, GG. Well, I have to plan all my commentary to be half a second after the stuff actually happens.
Easy, Oolong. You just put a break
so
on the
to
voice.
See these matches. I'm watching along with everybody in chat. These things have me on the edge of my seat. And that was really an amazing match between Woody and Golden Knight. I would say more determined by snowballs than it was really by Vipers in the last round there, huh?
Yeah, definitely. The snowballs are a little bit faster. So you need speed to hit these really amazing dodgers.
Right. Yeah, and Vipers are doing 30 damage a hit. Snowballs on a 2-second cooldown are going to be doing 15. So 2 snowballs is 1 sniper hit. And we saw a lot of snowballs going off there. The other thing that snowballs do is, of course, block your vision. I think with the low cooldown builds, that played both for and against both of these players, too.
It's amazing to see them playing with no shields, because it really shows off the amazing movements of Blaston and the intensity you can see.
Yeah, and I think that, when the last update came out and the meta was centered around, just chipping away at your opponent for a little bit and sitting on it and waiting for the round to end, I think those days are over after this tournament. I think no shield meta is going to come to fruition.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen both Woody and Golden Knight talking about like how powerful the double shield is in the balancing channel on Discord, and now they both choose to go no shield. So,
yeah, I think it's when you're playing against no shield, going double shield and sacrificing 2 of those weapon slots to get a bit more defensive capabilities. Unless you can have something that outpaces your opponent even with those 2 slots covered, I don't know if it's necessarily worth it anymore.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I think we should let Defur.
Yes. Defur, come back to us, please.
I'm like so eager. I'm like, let me talk. No, I'm kidding. It's
to shut up, Defur. We got you.
No, of course. It was very interesting to see, and I think the biggest thing to detract from that match is the fact that the gameplay was just so different. Like when you see these players going head to head like this, it's kind of interesting though that both of these players have been doing so much like content for the community, and it's very much, it's not like a mirror matchup, but it's very close in terms of like how they're moving, having this like more stylistic play. But I'm almost wondering, like, as we kind of develop the meta for Blaston in this way, we have, Tesseract and Josie in the winners finals now with this like very how could I say it, like smooth movement, but not a lot. And then you have these like iGoldenite and Woody, who are like these really stylistic players, but they're in the lower brackets. So like, can we read something from that? I'm not gonna say like we can now, perhaps, but what do you think, Oolong, like looking at this match now, Woody going out 0-3, what do you think he could have done different now going in a much more similar game than he did before? What could he have done?
Well, I think that swap on round 3, moving away from the double shields, moving to a no shield build was definitely the best thing he could have done. I mean, recognizing that something is not working against your opponent's build and changing yours to better match up against them, I think that's probably, I mean, it's not necessarily a strategy, it's just playing around your opponent. But he definitely did the best in that last round than he did out of all 3 of them. And he got pretty dang close to winning. So I really think that, you know, if maybe that set was extended, we could have seen that comeback. But I also think that Golden Knight, you know, halfway into that round, sort of was able to adjust his play style and go back to focusing more on the snowballs, more on Viper and the snowball, to just deal those large chunks of damage rather than just continuously doing that bullet spam. And I think that's really what got him the win.
That is very interesting too, because it's I guess now in this sort of game, it's been more about adapting within the loadouts that you already have, rather than actually adapting the loadout. So it's like, whoa, there's like levels of this. Like there's
levels of mind games going all the way down.
No, but I love to see it, because it's like, I mean, pretty much this tournament is, besides also giving the players a reason to compete and like getting the stakes higher to like push players to the limit, this is also a really great way, in my opinion, to showcase the game, because you can see the differences, not just that like, oh, to win against this player I just have to have a other gun. Like, no, you can just adapt how you play, and that could also change the tide of the battle. Oakfire, what did you think looking at this match? Was there anything Woody could have done different? Do you agree with Oolong on this one?
I think both players played really well, and I mean, I think it was hard to pick a clear winner here, and it could have really gone either way.
Why do you think that it became a 0-3? Because it was similar, and it was one of those like, you saw how close it was within the rounds, but the scores are out now and it's 0-3. So like, why did it kind of snowball? Excuse the term. Into I had to do it at least once. Like for Woody to kind of fall out of the tournament like this. What do you think?
Oh, I honestly don't know, but I think Golden Knight he's really agile and fast, so I don't know, maybe it was the stamina and the speed of Golden Knight, and I think he might have an edge when it comes to no shield playstyle, because he's a bit faster. And Golden Knight is also known for being really good at learning from the opponent, like what's he's trying to do, and not making the same mistake again.
Yes, but now we are going to head into the final game of today and of this stream of day 1 of the Premier, I almost said Premier Open bracket, Premier bracket that we have been running now for 3 weeks, and it's going to be Baby Spine versus Turbo. So we all know about Baby Spine, but this is someone we haven't seen on stream so far, at least for this one. Again, we don't have a graphic for Baby Spine because they qualified like very, very close to this stream. But what could we say about Baby Spine's like play style in terms of these, like in comparison to these other players? And maybe, Oolong, you seemed excited to answer this one, so I'm going to hand it to you.
Excited because we're probably going to see a weapon that we haven't seen so far in this stream, which is the Bunker. The Bunker Barrier is, I believe, the official name. It's an 8-second shield that, rather than being able to be deployed like a normal shield and then like thrown as a handheld, it actually goes on one of 4 positions in front of your play area and lasts for a much longer time. So against these super aggressive builds that we've seen, especially the no shield builds, a Bunker might be able to boost Baby Spine even further into this bracket. That's a lot of B's. That's a lot of alliteration there. But I'm pretty excited to see that because I don't think we've seen a Bunker build as of yet.
No, definitely not. At least not on this stream. But it definitely is one of those. I think you streamed one of the earlier games from Baby Spine where we saw. I think it was Baby Spine versus Bananas. I guess is the correct way to abbreviate their name.
Yes, yeah. So Bananas changes his name constantly on the Discord. I want to say that I didn't cast that one, but I did see him versus Wesso. And Wesso is a known Tether user. And I think we've seen a little bit of the Tether so far in this broadcast in the upper bracket. But the bunker was able to pretty much all but shut it down. And it was really then a matter of how fast can Baby Spine get a health advantage and then sit on it. Because if he's able to just keep putting up those bunkers as soon as they come off of cooldown, it's going to give him a lot more protection, even compared to 2 shield.
Yeah, that's very true. I think this is... I was talking about different styles, showcasing the game. I feel like this bracket is almost like made for me. I can like enjoy all of this to kind of showcase it to everyone and everyone who is kind of watching Blaston for the first time. So this is very much a treat for us as well. Before we head into the game, we had the question. You know what's coming. Predictions. So let's start this time with Oakfire. What do you think when it comes to the predictions of this one? A new playstyle has entered the ring.
Yeah, definitely, and I love that with Blaston. And Baby Spine definitely has a different playstyle from all of that we've seen so far. He's really strong with the Hammer E and with the Bunker and also the Viper E. So yeah, it's not an easy prediction. But maybe slight edge towards Baby Spine, but it could really go either way here. Baby Spine has been really good in the games coming up to this, so I've been super impressed, especially how he handles the tether.
So the final score, can we get it?
Oh, yeah, maybe 3-1 to 3-2 to Baby Spine.
All right.
And no, not 3. Oolong. That's too much. 2-1. Yeah.
All right. And for you, Oolong?
Yeah.
I think I also have to give a slight favoring to Baby Spine. It's gonna be very dependent on how fast Turbo can get in his damage before that very first bunker goes up. And if he chooses a build that can get around the bunker, I think that with no weapon swaps, 3-0 Baby Spine. I think with weapon swaps, this is going to go all the way to round 5.
All right. Well, I hope that that's what we see as well, because we have been seeing a lot of 0-3s, unfortunately, so far. But this might be the difference that we see for this stream today. So we will be heading into Baby Spine versus Turbo, and I do believe this is NA versus. This is the first NA versus EU. We haven't. Come on, guys. We haven't even brought that up. Got him. Well.
True.
Yeah, we're going to head in. Yeah, we're going to head into this now cross-regional battle between these two players in a short moment notice. Man, my English is starting to fail me when we go on these like longer casts. It's crazy. Like people say that me and Oolong look the same, but when my English is starting to fail, like this, I think maybe if I
look like your evil twin, Defur. It really does, even down to the outfits that we're wearing today. I didn't realize it until you pointed it out, but yeah.
We're gonna head into the game in any case. Oolong and Oakfire, take it away.
Sounds good.
Into the game.
Well, I was so excited for this bunker, and I don't see it so far on their loadouts during these connection test rounds.
Yeah, maybe Baby Spine thought it would be too predictable to go with it, so...
Baby Spine's gonna go double shield for round 1.
And Turbo uses 1 shield, so...
Yep, and Turbo actually rocking the Hammer Ellipse, Viper Ellipse combo. The bread and butter, the peanut butter and jelly of Blaston.
Yeah, and I think this is a loadout he mainly used when winning the last season. I mean, at least a similar style.
And you can see that, so that, when we're talking about the Vector, that's the Vector weapon right there. So there's a couple ways that you can use it. You can shoot it straight at your opponent and try and ricochet it back off the back end of the stage. You can try going towards the ceiling and have them come down, bounce off your opponent's podium and come back up. And then something that we've seen recently come out is that if you shoot it towards one side, you can actually do a 3-bounce ricochet and have it come on the opposite side of your opponent's podium, sort of coming diagonally across.
It's really beautiful to watch, but it's quite hard to do.
I can't do it. That's why I don't ever run the Vector. I've been trying to practice more and more.
Yeah, after I saw Sanfidian doing it, I've been practicing it a little bit, but yeah, it's quite hard.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a clip of me seeing it for the first time, and I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Waving to the audience.
All right, here we go. Best of luck to these two.
3, 2, 1.
And they're off. Turbo's gonna start off with some clamps. Ooh, and Baby Spine's gonna take a chunk of damage from that Hammer Ellipse. Real fast, another turn that we kind of talked about before. So when you see these two lines coming from either side and hitting the opponent at once, what they're actually doing there is they're spacing out the curves enough so that all the bullets hit your opponent's podium at the same time. That's what we refer to when we refer to the clamp. And Baby Spine's going to take a lot of damage from that Viper there.
That's what we call the big Viper.
The big Viper hits. Ooh. And that last curve down almost got Baby Spine. Not quite.
Great start by Turbo.
Ooh. Baby Spine taking a lot of damage there at the end. Going into the last minute. He's got quite the health advantage that he needs to work through. And you can see those double shields are stalling him out quite a bit. Turbo's able to keep up the pressure, but Baby Spine doesn't have a lot to deal with this. And Turbo's going to take round 1.
Turbo's looking really good. Let's see if he can keep his confidence.
3, 2, 1. Blast on.
We've got a minute left on those predictions. You want to get them in now.
Great dodging by Baby.
Yeah, Baby Spine knew that he took most of his damage at the beginning of last round. He's not going to let that happen again. Ooh. The other thing to note is that compared to other submachine guns in the same class, the Vector actually does slightly more damage compared to the other SMG, which is the Wildcat. Vector only having 6 bullets, but doing 8 damage a hit compared to the Wildcat, I believe, has 13 and does 6 damage. So firing the two together, ooh, is a good way to confuse and disorient your opponent. That Avalanche Nade hit Baby Spine in 4 places there and did quite a bit of damage. Ooh, drop blocking the Viper bullet.
Nice block by Baby Spine.
Excellent block.
Oh, tough offense by Baby Spine there.
That's going to give Baby Spine the health advantage going into these last seconds. We're going to see if he can keep it up, though.
Whoa, that was so close.
Oh! Big Avalanche Nade is going to hit from behind and bring Baby Spine to the red.
Beautiful comeback by Turbo.
There we go now.
15 seconds.
Seconds left on the clock.
5 seconds. 3, 2.
Oh, and Turbo is going to take game 1.
Nice
I got
job.
silent there. I was waiting for Baby Spine to get more weapons to use. I predict that we're going to see a weapon switch here.
I think so, but I can't really predict what they're going to change. Maybe Baby Spine. Oh, are they keeping the loadout?
I think Baby Spine's going to go to the bunker.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But it looks like maybe they're not doing a change. Can't really tell by their body language.
Yeah, that nade absolutely sealed Baby Spine's fate there. Literally Canada talking in chat. It's brutal. I used to say that the Avalanche nade didn't do a lot of damage even when it did hit, but I mean, my experience using it has proved that very wrong. All right, we're going through.
Yeah.
We're not doing any weapon swaps.
Standing in those beam cages is really painful.
And especially when you have bullets coming at you from all angles and they all look the same, from the Vector, the Wildcat, the Avalanche nade. You know, what do you prioritize? Ooh, one of those beam cages is going to proc. Ooh, he's going to stand it in a little bit too. Ooh,
Yeah,
but Turbo's going to take a
damage.
lot of damage from that hammer.
I've seen a lot of avalanche nade damage so far.
He doesn't even want to see that Avalanche nade anymore. He uses his 4-second shield. The Turbo gets in a couple hits in the meantime. All right, Baby Spine still has the health advantage, but he's got to wait for his shields now. Ooh, Turbo's gonna take a couple hits from the ceiling as those vectors come down. Ooh, Baby Spine having to use both his shields there and still takes 2 hits from that hammer. All right. Ooh, he's gonna take a lot of damage there.
Oh, that dodging was not so successful for Baby Spine.
Yeah.
He just
That
ducked into
hammer
it.
was like, the bullets were skidding across the ground and Baby Spine ducked right into him. Ooh. But he brings Turbo further into the red here. Oh, what?
that
What
hurricane.
the damage? Was it a vector?
I cannot believe. No, it's a hurricane. I cannot
It's a
believe he
hurricane.
didn't see that.
Oh my goodness.
I was
We
sure he
need
was
to
aware of
look
it.
up.
2, 1, blast off.
He's not happy he missed that.
Yep, but I guess Baby Spine made the right move. Ooh, that avalanche nade is gonna come from the left-hand side. Baby Spine gets out of it fast enough though that it doesn't do a ton of damage. Oh, but that Viper's going to. Ooh, he's gonna stand in that beam cage a little bit again. Oh, he's gonna stand in it again.
No.
Come on, Baby Spine, what are you doing?
I hate when that happens. It's so easy to forget about them. You're so
Ooh,
stressed
ooh.
about what's coming in front.
Yeah. Yeah, Avalanche Nade is the best way to put anxiety into the heart of your opponent. Ooh. He takes 2 of those vector bullets. Doing 16 damage. That's the same as a snowball. An upper level Blaston, that is quite a significant amount of damage. Turbo drop blocking some of those Wildcat bullets. I think Baby Spine's using all of his stuff at once rather than waiting for the combos that he really needs to dish out this damage. Ooh, they're both gonna go down to the red again.
30 seconds.
I can't even tell who has a health advantage here.
No, I can't see. Must be like one point.
15 seconds.
Ooh, he drop blocks!
Ooh,
He
that
drop
was an
blocks the
amazing-
Viper! He drop
That was
blocks with the
beautiful.
absolute madman! Oh, but the Viper's still gonna take it!
Nice
The
finish by
hands
Turbo.
of a Blaston player. Oof. The hands are hitboxes in this game, folks.
2, 1, blast off.
Now, another thing, a very slight thing to note, but something that I've noticed. So, Baby Spine actually curves his hammer ellipses slightly different than everyone else. Well, and actually, I say that, and Turbo manages to curve it in the same way. Depending on how you hold that hammer ellipse, it'll change how the bullets are spreading out. So, the way that Baby Spine and Turbo are both using the hammer ellipse is in a way that has a more condensed spread when it hits the opponent's platform. So more damage with the sacrifice of being overall a smaller spread.
Yeah. Much smaller compared to Tesseract and Josie style, which really covers the podium. You can't escape it.
Yep. Ooh, Turbo popping that 2-second shield to get away from the Wildcat fire. Oh, but he's coming. That's good timing on that hammer. Oh my goodness, and Baby Spine gets through it without a single point of damage. I actually think he took 1 point of damage. So that's not necessarily true. Yeah, drop blocking is the closest thing this game has to parrying your opponent.
30 seconds.
Last 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
10 seconds left. Turbo saved up for this combo.
5 seconds. 3.
Oh, and in the last seconds.
My God.
In the last
Wow.
seconds. Turbo's going to do a huge chunk of damage with that hammer
Beautiful
ellipse.
Turbo.
Winner.
And he's going to take game 2. Right, now are we going to see the weapon swap? Now are we going to see it?
Will we see the bunker, Baby Spy? Will we see the bunker?
Come on, it's fine. Show all the people at home what you're capable of. I mean, he got pretty close on that round. I don't even know if it's within his. I want to see the bunker, but I don't know if it's in his best interest.
I don't know.
Okay, all right. That wave, I think he is going to be doing a weapon swap.
Yeah, I can't tell. They're talking to each other.
Yep, that is the one downside of using the spectator client is being unable to see, yep, we're going to go to a weapon swap.
Yeah.
It's just being able to hear the banter between these two.
So I'm definitely betting on the bunker. I think Baby Spine is being really successful in these games using the bunker. And yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
And
say,
in
Oolong?
in the matches where he's brought it out, it has been pretty comparable to double shield without needing to take up that extra weapons. So if he feels, even with the longer cooldown, if he feels like he isn't able to keep up with Turbo's builds, it might be the best way for him to get a little bit more of an advantage. And it's going to be, I mean, again, like I said before, it's going to be dependent on how fast he can get that health advantage and how effective he can be at sitting on it.
Yeah, I was super impressed by him when he played Bananas, which is a really good tether player, and he could really avoid most of the damage. He was really crouching down behind the bunker. So
almost like literally sitting up against the wall, pistols drawn, like waiting for his time to strike against the tether.
yeah. So he's good at timing that and really strategic player. So but yeah, Baby Spine's a good all-around player.
Yeah, Baby Spine really solid. Again, if you are new to this game and you want guides on how to do a lot of different things, Baby Spine produces amazing guides. Woody produces amazing guides. I believe he has a video. I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but he does have a workout video coming out soon, I believe. And then Golden Knight, also another great resource to watch. But yeah, I hope Baby Spine at least takes one round here. I won't be upset if he doesn't, but I think he deserves it. And that last round got really close. I mean, literally up until the end. That looked
Yeah,
clean.
maybe he relaxed. I don't know what happened, but he did have the lead, and then just hell broke loose. So
Yeah. I mean, I think that Turbo waited for when he had the full combo ready to go, because he knew that it wasn't going to be determined by little bits of damage here and there. It was going to be determined by one big chunk of damage.
yeah, that's what we saw.
Yeah, what's the term? The best defense is a good offense. I think that pretty much categorizes how Turbo's playing here.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see any changes from Turbo. I'm not sure. But there might be some mind games going on now because he's probably suspecting the bunker. So he might bring the Vandal or something to counter the bunker.
I'm gonna pause and play this. All right, I'm gonna try to get my commentary a little bit more on track.
We can't have you watch the future Oolong. I'm just saying here from production side.
I'm predicting the future. Yeah, that little bit of. I'm gonna try to get like a 5-second delay.
No, let's not do it that much. Okay, I just had to say
the past.
Yeah. You have to be in the balance. This is actually like, it's very tough to do this right with the online stream like this. If you're just tuning in, we are all over the globe with this tournament, both in the players and the casters here. So we're trying to make the best of what we can do. But we really appreciate people giving feedback in the chat as well. We of course try to fix everything as soon as we can. So thank you for anyone. I just wanted to pop in here for a second, but we're gonna head into the third game here very shortly.
I couldn't get the delay on the stream, but I'm gonna try and make the delay in my mind.
We'll see how it goes. All right, game 3 coming up between Turbo and Baby Spine. Very excited to see who takes this. Hopefully not a 0-3. That's all I want to say.
Come on, Baby Spine. Come on, baby. We'll see, Bounty. Done it before. Gonna be interesting. So another thing, this has absolutely nothing to do with the gameplay itself, but I want to talk about the 2 arenas that are available in the game. So this one is, I believe, the Warhouse. Which, when I heard that pun in the campaign, I did roll my eyes, but I do love the name of the Warhouse. It is a warehouse where these underground Blaston matches are taking place. And then the other one is the more open area where the crowd's a little bit more dispersed. That is Scrapper Street, which is the new map that you get for completing the campaign. And, you know, most of the time we see that map, but it's nice to see the Warhouse.
It's the classic arena.
3, 2, 1, blast on.
Okay, so let's take a look at these changes. I don't think
Nope,
we see
Baby
bunker.
Spine. Baby Spine, actually, I think the only change he made was that Viper. The Viper ellipse and the Hammer ellipse.
He did have the hammer ellipse, but didn't he have the Viper?
I don't think he had the Viper.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was running the Wildcat Viper, or I'm sorry, Wildcat Vector. I always mix up. I'm not used to V words. I keep mixing those up. Alright.
Not sure Turbo did any changes, did he?
I don't think so. And honestly, that makes sense for me. The only difference between these two builds is the Hurricane being added in on Baby Spine's build, and then one less shield from Baby Spine instead of the Wildcat. As we've seen, that Hurricane can be very, very strong. So all right, and they're off.
2, 1, blast on.
Turbo proccing that shield just in case one of those vectors hits him. 8 damage is quite a bit. Baby Spine gonna take one of those vector hits. I don't know why, but now I have to mentally stop myself from saying Viper. Especially because we have both at play from both players. Ooh, Baby Spine gonna take a lot of damage there. Uses his 2-second shield to get rid of that avalanche nade. Does not want to see it. Ooh, he delays that last hit of the hammer. The best defense is a good offense. Ooh! manages to, I have to keep in mind that I have to delay it by like a 0.1 second. Baby Spine taking that Viper hit.
Turbo's looking really confident here.
Ooh, that's gotta be a lot of bullets. Lines of hammers are gonna come out. Ooh, Turbo manages to even drop block the Viper. Ooh. And with those hammer ellipse hits,
Wow.
Turbo's gonna take round 1.
Almost no damage dealt on Turbo. So
Yeah.
Baby Spine has gotta think about something new here.
You know, I have been seeing a lot in this tournament that players will sometimes double guess a build that they're really experienced. Oh, well, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and eat all those words real quick. Because that was a lot of damage on Turbo right at the beginning there. That's actually another thing. The barrel on the both the hammer ellipse and the Viper ellipse are quite long, so you can stand at the front of your player. Ooh, Baby Spine taking a lot of damage from that hammer ellipse. You can stand at the front of your area and basically get the Viper right in your opponent's face, which can make it a lot more deadly. Baby Spine ducking out of the way of that avalanche nade.
Could go any way.
Yeah, I think that early lead that Baby Spine had is all but evaporated. Ooh.
Turbo's
He's
really
so
good
scared
at
by that avalanche nade.
pushing Baby Spine into the corner where he wants him.
Making him nervous, making him look behind himself. Ooh, anything could happen with those Vipers in play though. Oh! I may have spoken too soon. Oh, Baby Spine getting on his side to dodge that hammer.
We're really
But it
close
doesn't
to
look like
seeing
he
a
has
Turbo
enough
win here.
juice to recover.
Can he do anything to save this match?
Oh, sadly. And Turbo is gonna
Well
take the
done,
win.
Turbo. Okay,
Good.
Europe got this game versus the North America.
Europe has triumphed over America.
Battle of the
Incredible game from both
continents.
these two. Really a great game.
Yeah. Well done, Turbo. Really well played.
Really great to see him continuing forward in this bracket too. And you know, we didn't see that bunker come out from Baby Spine. I was a bit surprised.
I was really surprised.
But what do you think? Do you think that would have been a good choice against Turbo's loadout?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I haven't seen them play that much, but now we get to see them.
Just some after game banter.
Yeah, they're talking.
Yeah, they're talking through it. I don't know. I mean, looking at Turbo's build now, my gut instinct is yeah, it would have helped, but I mean, he has the Viper ellipse, the Hammer ellipse, the Vector, and the Avalanche nade. They were all an issue for Baby Spine. The only thing that really the bunker would have helped out with was some of those Wildcat bullets. Those are the only ones that are heading straight forward.
Yeah,
Waving
and
goodbye. GG's Baby Spine Turbo. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Turbo is also really good at curving. So if you're super good at curving and aiming those curves, the bunker is can be quite weak.
Yeah,
So maybe,
yeah, especially if your opponent's trying to stay in one spot to get behind it.
So maybe that was Baby Spine's thinking that, versus a tether build, yes, really good counter. But yeah, maybe not in this case.
I'm seeing into the future again. I predict that we'll see a wild Defur. Come in, Defur. There we go.
I feel like the let me in kind of meme when I look at that. It's like waiting to not make it awkward to come in here. But yeah, it was interesting to see this game, and a bit slightly sad that we didn't get to see the bunker, but that's just how it is. Like, these players will choose the strategy that they see fit to kind of get them the win. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for Baby Spine, but I definitely respect that as like a competitor. I feel like that's definitely the choice. If you feel the most confident in one way, you can't like let, if you start to waver, then it's even gonna be even worse, I think. So, but this was an amazing show for Blaston, I think. Like, so many good games have been played, even though it's like, it's the typical, it's like, I hear this said in Smash a lot, like a close 0-2, like when you lose. But and that's how this entire day has felt. It's like close 0-3. It's like, that's not a close match, but really they are. And I'm kind of happy that we got to see this and to be able to showcase it to so many people. We have had a lot of new people see Blaston for the first time here on Twitch. But of course, we've also been able to gather the community. This is not the end, though. Like, I just have to point out, because this is day 1 of the Premier Bracket. We did have the open bracket finish earlier today, which was really cool to see too. But we are going to continue the Premier Bracket tomorrow. And we are going to take a look at the bracket and how it looks like so far. And we do have some news actually when it comes to that, because we've had some developments while the tournament has been playing, and we will be able to showcase that now. And you might be a bit surprised to see that Woody Place will be taking the place in the lower bracket semi-final. And the reasoning for this, before anyone freaks out by any means, is that Golden Knight had to forfeit due to personal reasons. So everyone is kind of on board with this mutually. Unfortunately, that's how it's going to happen, that they couldn't play tomorrow. So this means that Woody will, by a stroke of sheer luck, survive in this tournament. He's had a pretty rough day today, going 0-3 against Josie and then against Golden Knight, but he will have, it's almost like he's getting a third chance. It's almost crazy, like it's but that's how it is. And he's going to go up against Turbo tomorrow. So we have our top 4 decided for today. It feels kind of crazy that we've spent several hours to go from like just whittling down a few players, but I'm glad that we got to do this. And of course, we will also have, I mean, that's one is going to be crazy. Josie versus Tesseract. That is like, yeah. In my feel, like I actually haven't seen these two play versus each other, but I know, like, from what we've been talking earlier, is that like they have the smooth movement. They know how to like avoid and dodge bullets without getting hit in the most minimal way. So what happens when they face each other? Will it just be a stalemate? I don't even know. Like, I can't even begin to say. Like, Oolong, if you want to share your opinion, what do you think will happen between them in that match?
Well, I think a lot of the, I said it several times, but I'm going to say it again because I really think it describes almost all the matches today. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. However, if we were going to see a match that comes down to, you know, a tiny specks worth of damage, it was going to be Josie versus Tesseract tomorrow. I mean, it's an IMO, the best players from NA and EU going off. So it'll be like its own little mini finals before the finals. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that match repeat itself for the grand finals.
Yeah, that is very true. What do you think about the upper bracket finals tomorrow, Oakfire?
Oh, I'm so excited, especially with this game, with Tesseract and Josie. It's gonna be like the game of the year. I've been looking forward for such a long time to see them face off each other, because I honestly can't tell who is the better player. And wow. That
is gonna be super exciting. We also have then, of course, Woody versus Turbo, and this was mentioned in chat. I usually don't bring up things from chat, but I also just, again, I just want to bring this up because it's so interesting to me. We have the teenagers in the upper bracket here, the EU versus NA, and then we have the two 33-year-olds in the lower bracket, EU versus NA. So it's like, again, like I don't, it writes itself, you know, it's beautiful. So what do we think about when we take a look at Woody versus Turbo here? And you can go first with this one, Oolong.
Well, I honestly do not know. That one is another matchup I don't think I've ever seen. We knew that Turbo was pretty aggressive, and I mean, Woody did the best when he swapped out and also went all out aggression. So in the top bracket, I think we're going to see slow, methodical gameplay. And then meanwhile, in the lower bracket with the 2 30-year-olds, we're just going to see a slugfest.
Yeah, for sure. And
I double pun if you think about it.
Yeah, but like I feel like definitely in the case of Woody, I feel like he really needs to kind of take a step back and see, okay, what did not work today and what can I change? Because we know that Woody can bring out the fight in him and like bring a lot of good results. Like he's been playing in your tournaments and like a lot of different things before this. So it definitely feels like he has to kind of bring something new to the table for tomorrow's match against Turbo. What are your thoughts about that game going tomorrow, Oakfire?
I mean, first of all, I'm happy my prediction was really wrong with the baby spine in Turbo. I mean, Turbo did really well. So I mean, now I don't know. I mean, Turbo is looking really strong here. So I think they are also pretty evenly matched.
Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of a double elimination bracket. I know that this has been tough for the community, and I'm sorry for the stress that I put you through, but I am happy to see that like the top of the top is getting to play against each other in this way, so that we can see how we can kind of structure the plays and move the meta forward. I mean, I've been talking a lot about how players can interpret this. I mean, the dev team, they're gonna watch this stuff and be like, you know, I mean, of course we obviously test the game, but this is a good way to showcase it for anyone that is interested in Blaston, or if anyone is even interested in VR esports, because I mean, let's be honest, that's what we're building here today too as well. Like it's I don't know, it's so weird for me too, because if I'm gonna be honest, I was not into VR until 7 months ago, and I have been completely mind blown about getting into this and getting into competitive esports games in VR. I know that Oolong, you're kind of, you know, you do more than Blaston, but like this is very interesting for me to hear too. Like how have you kind of perceived Blaston growing in this way as an esport? Are you for it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, of course. I mean, I certainly hope, being that I spend 4 hours every week usually just looking at Blaston, casting Blaston. But I do want to bring up something different. So first of all, got to shout out Spark, which is the first game that I casted as far as VR esports. But when I ran that first tournament, a big point of feedback that I got was, wait, these are real people doing these real motions in real life? And I just, for those of you who may not have a VR headset, might just be watching this because you're interested in, it's useful to keep in mind that when you got to hit the floor to dodge something, you actually in real life have to hit the floor. In Golden Knight versus Woody, we saw Golden Knight literally reaching up into the air, jumping up into the air to grab those nades before they were able to go over his head. So, there's an extra layer. Esports, I am old enough to remember when esports was first becoming a thing, and we were all kind of in this state of like, wow, this could actually be like sports. And it's hard to even remember that was a period of time where, people didn't know whether or not they would watch other people play online like this. And I think with VR esports, we get another step closer to, matching IRL sports.
Yeah, very true. And I think this is something that I've heard you say too, Oakfire, when getting into Blaston, and because you haven't been in like as an esports person before this game, if I recall correctly. So it's,
exactly.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear your thought about this too, kind of going into and seeing Blaston grow in this way. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Blaston is a game that really sparked my interest in computer gaming, if you want to call it like that.
Sorry.
Yeah. and I've seen many people like, why do you play Blaston? I mean, some people just do it for the workout because they just want to, it's a lot of fun. Like me, I don't want to sit still at the computer and play a game for me. So wow, finally I can play a game where I can move my body. And some people actually use it for just weight loss, and because they have not found any other way to actually get a workout going in their week that they enjoy. So it's beautiful to see.
Yeah,
all these
I mean,
different ways you go into it.
yeah, I definitely have to say, getting into VR and competitive games like this, and I know we're getting a bit off topic here, but we have the chance, you know, we have the outreach now when we have everyone here. It's just like actually being able to work out by just playing the game. Like, of course, you tend to maybe work out your legs more when you play Blaston than other you know, body parts, but it is very much one of those, like, especially in the kind of situation we have in the world today, like globally, not having to worry about a simple thing as like going to the gym, for me actually relieves a lot of stress, where I can just be like, you know what, I can just be at home and like play Blaston, and I'm gonna get that leg workout anyway, so screw that, I'm just gonna do some cardio here. And then I go into Discord and go, hey, I'm queuing up for an hour. Then everyone tries their best to destroy me on ranked, which is, I'm very thankful for that too, by the way. But this has been the first day of the Premier bracket. That means that there is a day 2, and we will be starting at the same time tomorrow. I am going to check just so, because time zones are hard. Like, if anyone, you know, esports or sports, any type of person will know this. So we'll be starting the first games around 6 p.m. CST, which is in Europe, and I believe that is 11 a.m. CDT. I hope that that's a real time zone. I'm not saying something wrong there, Oolong, but we are going to, in the morning in the States and the evening in the EU. There you go. Like,
It's going to be 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, which ends up being 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, which I think ends up being 3 o'clock GMT, which is sort of like the one that bridges over all time zones.
Yeah.
Either way, if you follow this page, you'll be notified when we go live. So if you go ahead and follow right now, you don't have to worry about the time zones. We'll worry about the time zones for you.
That is very true. So then you can get notified about this. Before we go, I just want to do a quick round of like shout outs here. So we had the B stream for the open bracket, which was run by Starwise and Bounty X Snipe. Thank you so much for running that stream. Thank you to Val for setting up this tournament. Of course, B Haptics for sponsoring one of the tax suit. And also, I mean, I represent Resolution, but Resolution for giving us the chance to have this. I mean, I kind of, you know, I get to be both with the community. And then also, for this tournament, we have the players. We have Oolong and Oakfire here casting, Cruxer being alongside. Definitely a big shout out to Slow-Eyed for all the help that they have been doing, putting into like the effort of helping this tournament. It's been crazy, and we have had a lot of big learnings, but the beautiful thing about this is, as a small community, we have like come together to kind of take this challenge together. It's like, sounds maybe lame, but I'm really happy that we got to do this. So thank you for everyone, and for anyone tuning in. This is going to be so much fun to watch the games tomorrow, so please join us for that. But before we go, I also want to give the floor to Oolong. Do you have anything to say before we go? Any shout-outs or any plugs?
Well, I can go ahead and plug my stream. I run VR Fight Nights, which is now a bi-weekly VR gaming event. If you're looking to get into competitive VR gaming, you should go ahead and give me a follow on twitch.tv/Dr_Oolong. But I did actually want to say two things real fast before we headed out. One, Defur, you were talking about, you know, during this weird time with, you know, the occasional international pandemic, it's been pretty hard to go out and do stuff. And I really want to, if you haven't been sold on all these matches, there are 2 Ozo lounges that are within Blaston. And I have to say, you know, it's been pretty hard for me to go out and see people in real life and hang out with people in real life. And being able to get on most nights and go to the Ozo Lounge and actually talk with people and play with people and see them every night. Nameless, TK Homie, Silly True. I'm missing a whole bunch of people here. I don't really have a lot of time. I don't want to monopolize it. You know, that also has been a huge help to fill that social gap. I feel like for a lot of people, me included. So really huge thanks to Resolution Game for building this game for us and this whole new world for us to socialize and hang out in. And if you haven't gotten the game yet, all I can say is that I have 168 hours in this game. That's pretty good return on investment right there for $10. So definitely go and buy it right now if you haven't already. Right now.
Thank you so much. And Oakfire, do you have anything last to add before we go for day one of Premier Bracket?
No, I mean, I'm thinking about the new players. So join the Discord and ask people like to teach you stuff. It's a lot of fun. So, and most people are so friendly in this community. So yeah, don't be afraid.
Happy to hear that. So besides following us on Twitch here for Blaston, we're also on Twitter, on YouTube and Facebook. So you can follow us there to get the notified of a lot of new things coming to the game. I know we have an update. We're working very hard. We can't say anything about it right now, but please keep that in mind. I did want to at least get something, and I don't have a video or anything, but what you said, Oolong, because we were allowed to say this, so that's fine, is getting the game. We will have a Steam free weekend coming up, and we will tell you more about that when it comes out, but and we'll warn you when the game is free, you know, for a short period of time where you can try out Blaston. So when that is happening, we are going to hopefully get everyone to get their friend to just install the game and try it out, and it's gonna be a blast, you know. I had to do it for the final one. But thank you everyone who has been tuning in. This has been great. See you tomorrow for day 2 of the VR Summer Games 2021 Premier League? No, Premier Bracket? Oh, I messed it up. Okay, well, see you then. It's been great.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
See you all tomorrow.